disappearing act, but life and uni and all these other things were happening, so I sort of had to shift focus. But I'm back again for Suzuka. Didn't want to miss this one. Unfortunately, Smithy is not with us for this round. He couldn't make it. I had other commitments, so it's again going to be the dynamic duo with me and Mr. Sam Jones. Of course, was here to be alongside me for Spa, and here he's again for Suzuka. How you going, Sam?
Yeah, hi Tom, hi guys. It's good to be back once again, and well, it's another classic track I've turned up at as well. It's an absolute pleasure to watch the cars go around here at Suzuka. Fantastic track, really sweeping corners. It's a perfect design. You don't need to change anything. It makes for some absolutely fantastic laps and some fantastic racing, and we've already seen that in the first two series here this week, and I'm sure we're going to see much more of the same in Super League as well, so it's definitely going to be one race to watch.
Yeah, indeed, no, that's exactly right. Spot on there. On cameras, this round, it's not our usual man Quinton. He's not able to stream this one. He's getting his PC upgraded, actually, as it happens, to be able to stream. So he should be back for the next round. But the man who saved it all, coming at the last minute, being extremely superhero-esque, is Mr. Joshua Anderson. He's on the cameras for us. And as always, thank him a heap for jumping in at the last minute and being able to make this broadcast happen, because it was looking a little bit doubtful, but we're here and we're managing to be live, so it's very, very nice indeed. So of course here we are at Suzuka, the legendary track, and honestly it's one of my favourite tracks actually. I really do enjoy this track a lot. You've got the very technical first sector and then the more open sort of second half of the lap. It's a very bit of a contrasting lap, I think. You know, you've got some slow stuff, got some fast stuff. It's really, really good fun. It's certainly a track that I do adore. It's going to be very interesting indeed to see how we all go here in this round of the championship. We're getting in the latter half of the season, of course, so the championship is looking quite interesting now. It's Philip Pushka still leading. I've got the results up. It's 35 points now. He's clear of Feinek, who's then got about 30 points over Redshaw. 24, sorry, to be precise, and that's Canapino and Cooper behind. And that is your sort of the top few there in the championship, with Pushka still leading, and he's really been dominant all season long. So good stuff from him. And Votball still leading the constructors too, although CSG is pretty close behind. It's a bit of a gap back to Norjone, and Hawkeye is next. So we've had qualifying, of course, had the warm up. The weather, I believe, is meant to be dry. From what I was hearing before, the weather's cleared up after I know for FC it was all wet. So but Sam, who are you predicting here for this race in terms of, you know, who do you think will be the ones to watch, and also just generally what do you think is going to happen for these drivers trying to fight this track?
Well, I think in terms of the racing today, I think it's definitely going to come down to tactics more than anything. There's a lot of corners around this track, and not the longest of straights in the world, so it's not the easiest to overtake on. That certainly doesn't mean we won't get any overtaking at all. We'll still see some good battles going into the Casio Triangle and then into Turn 1 as well. But certainly, I think the guys are going to have to be patient today. And it looks like we're going to get another Vodball CSG battle, especially with Alex Cooper on quite a good run of form at the moment after his win in Singapore. He looks like he's definitely got the pace here today once again, but it's certainly not going to be him and him only, because of course the Vodball guys are going to be there as well, battling away with him. And yeah, it's hard to really call who would be the guy to win at the moment. Pushka, of course, would be the season favourite to win, but just looking between the two teams of CSG and Vodball, they've actually both got 5 wins apiece now this season, so it kind of shows how close it is between the two in terms of the performance of their cars. So you'd have to say it's probably going to be a pick between the two teams. Who actually wins the race, though, that is going to be a tough one to call, and I think that's going to really present an exciting and gripping battle for us today.
Indeed, no, I do agree. Yeah, it's definitely going to be another, I think, Bob Ball CSG battle, especially with the pace. They seem pretty similar. But a lot of teams actually there in those top few. I mean, Green Stripes are actually looking pretty good in qualifying. Norjone, of course, as well, looking good. Simcraft, Midnight Motorsport, also looking very good. So, you know, you got a few guys here who could really challenge this for this sort of for the win here, because I think it was about the top 12 were only about a second off, so they're all quite close in the top bunch, which is good to see. But yeah, we will see how we go. I think we've got 24 runners and riders for this round, so not quite a full grid, but not too far off, so it should be good. But I do think it'll be interesting to see because the Degners have already claimed a lot of victims in FC and SC. As it is, and I think for this one, by the looks of it, watching practice already, a number of drivers have been caught out by the dangerous Degners, as we have seen throughout the career ladder this week, and I think it's going to be. I really do think they might be the deciding factor because I can see a whole bunch of people possibly being in trouble there down there because that bump in the first Degner is just an absolute killer. It caught me out too in FC when I did that round this week, and that was that Degner was just absolutely deadly. For me. But yeah, we've got about another minute 50 left in warm-up until we go to the race, and it should be an absolutely fascinating race here at Suzuka. I mean, it'd be nice if a bit of weather, to be honest. I wouldn't mind a bit of weather to chuck it in there and really mix things up a bit, but by the sounds of it, looks like it should be a clear race. But it should be interesting either way. Tyre wear will be interesting, seeing which teams are better at it than others, which upgrade paths they've gone for, but yeah, it's going to be very interesting indeed. And this track, Sam, is this one of your favourite tracks? Do you enjoy racing around here?
Yeah, I'd probably have to say I enjoy doing laps around here. Perhaps not racing as much because it is a very difficult track to really follow another car around. But certainly in terms of qualifying, this is perhaps one of the best tracks to really attack and go for it because it's got such long sweeping corners that really if you don't hook it up on the entry, then the corner is going to be ruined, and especially in the first sector as well, that's really going to affect your entry into the next corner and then potentially the corner after that as well. So it certainly is a very rewarding track when you really get a lap perfect, well, as close to perfect as you can get around here. And so yes, it's a great pleasure to drive around here. But yes, it's not the easiest one to race around at all because it's so easy to make a mistake. There's very little tarmac runoff, which is quite strange really nowadays. You tend to see most tracks having a lot of tarmac runoff on the outside, but Suzuka have more or less stuck to the old grass and sand to hold the cars in, I guess, and just really make it that little bit more difficult. And I think that's definitely what we're also going to see today is guys just making a slight mistake and really paying the price for it.
Yeah, indeed. No, I agree. Yeah, it's good. It's a very unforgiving track. Suzuka. It always has been, and it continues to be today in the modern era. We've got 25 runners rise actually. Fran Lopez has rejoined the service. We've got 25 drivers here today for this round of the championship, and it should be very interesting indeed. I do suspect it'll be a bit like Singapore, because Singapore was a big high attrition rate there. I believe only about 13, 14 cars actually finished that race. It was a very high attrition rate there, and I suspect it's going to be similar here, because Suzuka is just such an unforgiving circuit at the best of times. So I'm thinking it will be interesting to see. I should see if anyone tries to move down into either of the Degners, because if you're trying to make a pass down there, you're very, very brave indeed. And honestly, I think it'd be, as I've found, it'd be a bit sort of, it's a bit difficult to make a pass down there because of just how hard it is to get through there, even on your own, let alone with someone else next to you. So interesting stuff indeed. So should be about to go to the race now. Chris, our race director, just giving the usual warnings and pre-race info before we go live to the race itself. And then we'll go there, and it should be interesting to see how we will go. We should see also how Kerno and Phoenix go, because they're at the bottom, and even Greenstripes at the bottom there, and Woods actually, and Nijo, they're all kind of in that little battle there, back end of the field, trying to avoid relegation. So it's going to be interesting to see how they all go.
Attention grid, all non-essential personnel leave the grid now.
The grid, the good old R14 man, I can never miss that voice, as we've gotten used to him over the years. But as I was just about to say, I noticed that that the Phoenix have only had the two drivers. Ryan and Yakinen have driven only two to drive the car. No other driver has driven that car, which is interesting. No other teams managed that this season. So a little interesting fact there is there's a bit of synchronization there. So don't mind that. As everyone now just joining the grid. Yep, okay, synchronization is good. As this always happens, of course, on occasion. But here we go. We're going to be going to the warm-up lap now in any moment now, and it should be an absolute cracker, I must say. Here at the Suzuka circuit. Very weird to see this so sunny, I've got to say. In the Formula Challenge, it's pretty much constantly raining, so it's a bit weird to see it so sunny here for this round, but we shall be going to the warm-up lap in the next few seconds, and leading it off will be Mr. Alex Cooper in the CSG pole here, Suzuka. Backing up, as we said, that win at Singapore, looking very, very strong, I must say. He's been looking strong all season long, but just confirming that here at this round of the championship. Philip Pushka, second for the Ball, our championship leader, continuing to be very strong as he has been all season long. David Farnick, another one who's been strong all season long. Mr. Consistency, keeping that name true at the moment in this latter half of the season. He's third for Hawkeye. That's Augustin Canapino fourth for Norjan, followed by his teammate Florian Guy. He's fifth in the second Norjan. Jonik Simic in the second Ball. He's sixth. Another solid performance from him here in qualifying. Fran Lopez for Red Archer is seventh, and that's Tom Parker in the second CSG is eighth. Tom Vandervoort and Pedro Mellon there, the back end of the 10, they round out the top 10 in the two Midnight Motorsport cars. Jordan Weeks is 11th in the Torrance Motorsport car. That's Devils Missiles in the second Red Archer car. He's 12th, and that's DeWalt Nell is 13th. And rounding at the top, well, roughly the top half of the field-ish, sort of, is Marcus Riffle in the first of the Adonis's.
Yeah, so Jason Muscat in the second of the two Adonis engineering cars is right behind his teammate in 15th position. Then we've got Ben Horrell for Green Stripes Racing. That's actually a decent effort by him in 16th position, with Roy Schroten for Woods Racing behind in 17th. Then Kenny Lee Bear for Nijo Racing is on the same row in 18th, followed by Kieran Ryan for Phoenix F1. That is a good starting position for Kieran, only a few places out the points, and with the high attrition that could be very, very important for him to try and just pick up a few points for Phoenix today, as they really do need to close down the gap on Kerno, which currently sits at 8 points. So rounding out the top 20 is Menno Klont for Hawkeye Racing. He was his laps in right at the end there, and perhaps got in a few guys' way just setting his lap times, but managed to get top 20 out of his qualifying. Then Mark Wicks is in 21st for Kerno, followed by Rob Mason for Nijo in 22nd. Then we've got Morten Wernerson for Woods Racing in 23rd. I believe he was doing some more racing yesterday as well, so he's back here for more at Suzuka. And then the final two guys are Mikko Jakinen and Matthew Allington for Phoenix and Kerno respectively in 24th and 25th.
Indeed, there's your grid of runners for this round of the championship. Shout out to Rob Mason, by the way, and Nijo. He's a bit of an unfamiliar face here in Superleague. He's done a last-minute fill-in job for the Nijo team to fill out the grid for them, so credit to Rob there to get that thing into that position, considering there's been a while since he's been in the Super League car. But we are about to go green here at the Suzuka circuit for this round of the Super League Championship. Who will come out on top is the question. Will it be Pushka? Will it be Alex Cooper? We shall see. Will it be somebody else? As we're going now, 1 light, 2 light, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 red lights now, and we are away here at Suzuka, and Alex Cooper's got a great start. Look at that, Felix Pushka has gone nowhere. He's just gone absolutely nowhere and been swamped off the line. The Hawkeyes, I mean, the Midnights are straight through, the Norjones are through. Even Tom Parker's nearly through, so Pushka's gone from 2nd to 8th in one corner. Unbelievably bad start from the Bodball driver, but it's David Fidek in the Hawkeye car is taking the lead. Great start from David. He now takes the lead of the race. DeWalt Nell is disconnected. Oh, poor DeWalt in the green stripes. He's now disconnected by the looks of it. So a big shame for him there, as he'd had a good qualifying. So big shame for DeWalt. But we go along now towards the Degners. And here we look at Alex Cooper's having a little bit of a look at David, but he won't ever look surely in the Degners. No, yeah, it's a very, very dangerous move, especially in these early laps. He'll just try and get through. Was that someone having a bit of a moment there through the Degners? But it looks like everyone has managed to get through, so that's good stuff to see. Although, who's that? That's Roy Schroten there, is having a bit of a mistake at the end of the first sector. He's got a puncture, I think, there, but it looks like, so he's going to have to limp back to pit lane with a very, very wounded car. So shame for Roy, but we've gone through. Everyone pretty much has gotten through okay, as it is David Feinek leading from Alex Cooper. Jonik Simic is in third. Good start from him. Tom Vandervoort is fourth. Another good start from him. That's Gaia, Mellon, Canapino, Parker, who's gotten past Lopez, and Pushka's now down to 10th. So Pushka, an absolute horror start for his championship, and this is really boding well for Feinek. Get some solid points against him. And I'll tell you what, if I was Pushka, I'd be really wanting to get back through the field.
Yeah, that was quite the bad start from Pushka. Not only did he make a mistake, as that Canapino that's just gone off the track at the Casio Triangle comes back on though, and that actually promotes Pushka up into 9th as Canapino falls to 10th position. But now he's all over the back of Pushka, and he's going to look up the inside going into turn 1. Can he make the manoeuvre stick? Oh, not quite. Oh, he's actually got all the way alongside. And Pushka's going to have the inside for the next corner though, Tanda, and just holds onto that 9th. So yeah, Pushka not only had a bad start, but also went off earlier on, and someone else has just sped off. Oh, that's Pedro Melim. He's gone wide. gone off the track, and that's another position for Pushka, and Canapino's actually lost out there as well.
Yeah, indeed. No, it was interesting to see Canapino just stuffing up the last chicane there. Just went a bit too late in the brakes, locked up the rears, I believe, and just went cannoning into the car ahead. That's why he caused that incident there. So I think it was a natural mistake. Just noticed Yakinen's lost his front wing, so he's dropped way down the field as Riffle then in 20th gets past Rob Mason there. Little move I saw, but yes, it's Yakinen's got damage. He's in pit lane. Roy Schroten's in pit lane. So if you guys are having dramas here already at the start of this race, as we said though, it's going to be a bit of an attrition rate here. It is Suzuka. It's a very unforgiving track. And pretty much as I expected, really. The start's been a bit harsh on a couple of drivers, but no big smash, so that's good. So everyone's managed to get through okay. So everyone's pretty line astern at the front. It's still Finek from Cooper, then it's Simoncic and Vanderbilt. They're all quite close to the front. It's very, very interesting. So your guy not far behind. At the moment, look at that. It's actually Fushka getting through on Finek, through on Lopez at the 130R. Very brave move. Oh, his Vanderbilt is off apparently. Oh yeah, he is. Look at that. Vanderbilt's gone straight down into the chicane. That's going to give Guy the perfect chance to get past. He looks to the outside. Has he got the better speed? It looks like that Norgen is just absolutely flying. Look at that, just like a rocket. Goes straight past Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt won't give up, but look at that guy. Just goes straight across and goes, no thank you, that's my position, sir. He takes fourth from the Midnight Driver. Great move there from Guy. A very opportunistic move. As I was just about to say, Pushka got past Fran Lopez into 130R. Very brave move. He now moves to 7th, so the comeback trail begins for our championship leader at the moment. Next battle actually is a bit of a battle over 9th. It's Canapino, Malum and Muscat there in that battle for 9th. They're all quite close at the back end of the 10. Good stuff to see. It's Missless, Clont up to 13th. Great stuff from him. And Horrell 14th, and it's actually Kenny Libeer is 15th. First in Nijos, so good stuff to see there. Is actually Jordan Weeks is out. Jordan Weeks in the Torrent is out of the race. DNF is what I've got, so maybe a disconnect. Real shame for him. It actually looks like Dalton Ellis was a suspension, so I think it was a crash. But look at this, Alice Cooper all over the back of David Fidek here as they go through Spoon. I think he'll be looking very keen to have a go in the 130R, Sam.
Yeah, he certainly will be. He's going to be right. Oh, let's see. He's got a bit of a gap between himself, so it's going to really come down to what kind of slipstream can Cooper get. He's got a decent toe, but he's just not close enough really, and doesn't even bother sticking the nose out. He's just going to follow Fidek now and think about move at the triangle, but no, not quite close enough. He's going to have to try and line Fidek up down the pit straight. He's actually much closer now, so this is looking really promising for Alex Cooper actually. He's going to go to the inside already, so Fidek's committed to the outside, although Cooper slots back in, doesn't quite have the straight line speed to really make an overtaking manoeuvre there, and just has to retain himself in 2nd position. Further back, Florian Guy is coming under increasing pressure from Tom Vandervoort as well, 4th and 5th position. So that looks like it's going to be a battle that is also joined by Tom Parker and Philip Pushka in the near future as well, as all these guys are really starting to catch up with the slight bottleneck that Florian Guy is creating at the moment.
Yeah, indeed, yeah, it seems like Guy is kind of the cork in the bottle at the moment. It's probably because of the those couple of those guys falling back. Oh, geez, look at that Vanderbilt got such an amazing exit out of the second deck there. He's going to go around the outside of the hairpin. Surely not. This is a very brave move. He's going to try and stick it. I reckon he might have it. Is he going to get a good exit? Oh, very close. Good racing here. Very clean and considerate racing here. Look at that. Vanderbilt might even get the move done into Spoon. He'll be on the outside, though. It's very hard to make a move stick around the outside into Spoon because of the nature of the corner. And he does stick back in. Oh, geez, a bit of a... Oh, looks like... Oh, contact. Oh, no, Guy goes wide through Spoon. Don't know if that was maybe because of contact. It's going to be Parker through as well. He takes opportunistic move. He might just take Guy here, or the guy's going to hold on. He might get the slipstream of Vanderbilt. He doesn't quite, and Parker gets through. They go through the 130. Look how close this guy. Pushka, by the way, is right behind this. He's just watching this, waiting for it to unfold. Parker now has a look down into chicane. He gets Vanderbilt. Very good move there. There's a bit of contact between Guy and Vanderbilt. They're getting back almost. Bit of a love nudge there. Parker gets the move done on Vanderbilt. Good move there to move up to 4th spot from the CSG man. Vanderbilt drops to 5th, and it's Guy now down to 6th with the championship leader right behind him. And with all this battling, that's letting Fran Lopez catch on as well, so he's gaining as well. So this battle here in the midpoint of the top 10 is really, really quite fierce here, but very, very clean, really, considering how close it was. There was a bit of contact at the end of Spoon, which I was a bit sort of like iffy about, but obviously on the fly, I'm not sure what exactly happened there. It may have been just a bit of a lag moment, possibly, as it always happens on occasion. So I won't really comment too much now, but Fidek still leads at the moment. He's actually managed to gap Cooper a little bit in the CSG there, so good stuff for the Hawkeye driver. Simoncic just holding on in 3rd. He's sort of almost, just keeping distance with the top 3 there. And there's that gap back to that battle for 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. And then Canapino even's not that far behind. Mellon holds on to 10th. That's Missilus, Muscat, Clont, Horrell, and still Ibear there in the last points paying position. As who is that? That is, oh, it's Allington in with heavy damage. He's lost his front, rear, and front left tyre there. So that's 21st. Jeez, that's a big crash. I'm not sure where that happened. I'll try and go back on the replay and find that. But very interesting stuff here at the start of the race, Sam.
Yeah, that's bad for Allington. He's going to be in the pits for a while now. Probably will go a lap on. Meanwhile, Fidek is coming up to the final corner, and Cooper is still keeping him honest. He hasn't got away as Fidek in the opening stages of this race, and also, I think we've got a bit of movement, and Lopez has actually got past Van der Voort, Gaia and Pushka, so I don't know what's happened there. Lopez has just made up 3 positions. Let's have a look. Comes through 130R, still behind the 3 of them, and we go into 130, and Gaia makes contact with Van der Voort. They both go wide, and look at that, they come across and just clip Pushka as well, so Pushka really got caught out there as well, and Lopez just sneaked past the 3 of them, so that's great opportunistic driving by Lopez, just to place his car perfectly on the track to avoid all the carnage ahead of him, and got those 3 positions, whilst the other 3 all dropped down one, and actually Augusto Canapino's caught up as Pushka goes side by side with Gaia around. Oh, the Pushka's gone off into the gravel, he's going to go straight on and hits the wall as well.
Oh!
Yeah, there's no apparent damage, but surely you will have suspension damage from that contact with the wall, so this could be huge for Pushka's championship right now. Let's see how this car copes with that damage that you surely got.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Sam, just watching back on some of these moves, it's a lot of contact, really. I'm quite surprised with how much contact I'm seeing here in these sort of last couple of laps. And a bit unnecessary, one could say, but I mean, we'll see how we go here. Hopefully it'll calm down a bit. Hopefully it's just a bit of a red mist moment for a few of our drivers, but hopefully they'll calm down a little bit now and get into the groove as Fidek continues to lead. Cooper's back on the back of him though, so he's managed to bring it back again. And Simčić again is still just there, as I think they're lapping. I'm going to assume that's Yakinen. I'm assuming they're lapping. As look at this, Cooper on the back of Fidek. This is for the lead. He might have a shot down at turn 1. Look at this in the slipstream. Goes to the inside. Fidek's not really defending. In fact, he's going to try and hold around the outside. Is he? I think that's the plan. He's trying to hold the whole cover, but he can't. Look at that. Cooper goes through into the lead. Fidek quite submissive there. Didn't really try and fight that. Although I suspect he knows Cooper's quicker, so he's just going to try and hold on for the moment. Maybe save for the end of the race to try and get back in perhaps, and let Cooper take the race lead for the moment, because I suspect he was not really getting away. I think Cooper with the slipstream was able to just keep Fidek honest. As look at this, he's already actually gapped quite quickly there, Cooper, in first place. Some very interesting stuff to see. So now Cooper takes the lead in the CSG from David Fidek. Simčić now in third place. Simčić has gone wide. He's off at the Degners, and there goes his front wing. Big crash from our third place man. He was going so well, and then look at that, the Degners strike again. Right as I thought, the Degners have claimed their first victim here, and he just went wide at the first Degner, caught the ripple strip, and then just couldn't get out of it. And that's caused the contacts. He's just coming across the track. You've got to be careful he doesn't get in the way of anyone. But yeah, some interesting stuff there. It was a bit one of those, that curb on the outside. If you get caught on it, especially in these open wheel cars, you just will not let go. It's like glue. You just can't get away from it. So just a little bit of an error there from Simčić, and he's going to drop way down the field now. He's got to limp back to pit lane and then get a new front wing attached. So real shame for the volleyball driver. But there you go. That's just the way Suzuka is. It does not take any prisoners, as we've just seen there.
Yeah, that's really tough for Simčić. Yakinen's also struggling around this track. So he's going to be limping back to the pits. And also, whilst that happened, the lap before, I'd also noticed that Parker also fell victim to the Degners. He went wide, got on the gravel, managed to recover it without hitting the wall, came back onto the track but lost the position to Lopez. So now Lopez, after all that, he's suddenly found himself in third position, all but 5.5 seconds off the lead, and 5 seconds actually off Fidek as well, who's in second. So that's great effort for Lopez, though. He's come through from effectively a low point scoring position to find himself on the podium. We'll see if he can keep this one going, as he just really gets the car a bit loose there and comes into the Degners now, but still looking good for Lopez, and well, let's see if he can hold on to this podium.
Yeah, indeed. No, that's true. Who's that? It's one of the Donuses there at the front. He's just had a little incident. Who is that? Is that Riffle, or is it? Nope, doesn't look like it's Riffle. Who's that? It's one of the Adonises. Oh, it was Riffle, sorry. Yeah, Riffle there, his front wing again. I believe that's the second time he's lost his front wing in that Adonis car, as he goes straight on Spoon as well. So, bit of a drama race for Marcus. He was looking like he had decent pace, definitely point stuff, but he looks like he's had a few dramas here at Suzuka. And again, it's just a bit, Suzuka, the attrition track is just not taking any prisoners. I just saw a position switch. I think it was a midnight. I think it was Mellum actually, maybe. Possibly getting moved on as Gaia there. Going to the inside. Yeah, I think it may have been Mellum actually. Getting passed by Pushka, I believe, through Spoon, may have been what I was seeing there. So Cooper still leads. He's still got Fighter right behind him. Fighter not giving up. And he's in the slipstream here. I wonder if he'll have a look. I don't know if the Hawkeye's as quick as the CSG, which is probably his biggest woe there. And yeah, look, that doesn't really get close. Cooper's going to the inside. I don't think Fighter's really trying to pass him, though. I suspect he's just going to stick with him, as I suspect he knows that he's not going to be faster than the CSG, especially not in a straight line. CSG is very fast in straight lines we've found throughout the season. Look at this, the Norjones actually are probably one of the closest fights in the field. It's Canapino versus Gaia. Vandervoort's just ahead of them. That's the 6th spot between the two Norjone drivers. They're trying to catch it back up to Vandervoort and get back past him there in the top 10s. Pushka's back up to 8th, so the comeback is still on. But again, he's still losing a chunk of points to Fighter, which is really going to eat into his championship lead that he's got and he's maintained throughout most of the season. So he'll be trying his best to come through, and I'm sure he'll do well in doing that if he can get the consistency going, because he is very fast. Qualified second spot, he's got the pace. He just needs to get the consistency going in that. Borkar Missile is still holding on to 10th there. In the second Red Arch, and there's Muscat, Clont, Horrell, now up to 13th after the mistake from Simichich, so good stuff for him. Levere there in 14th, and Kieran Ryan in 15th in the Phoenix, so good stuff for him there. As we go along now, everyone's still going along. We've got a couple already lapped down after the a couple of incidents and people going off throughout this race, but very interesting stuff indeed as we get now into lap 8 of 53.
Yeah, it's still very close at the front, isn't it? Pushka is certainly going to have his work cut out, as I think Canapino is going to look up the inside of Guy going into the chicane, but not quite close enough there. So he has to slot back in behind Gaia at the moment. Wait, weren't they actually the other way around before? They were, weren't they? So Guy has actually made the move on Canapino now. He got himself back up into 5th. After a quite eventful start earlier on, it's actually starting to look like people are spreading out a little bit now as everything starts to calm down.
Yeah, no, just noticed that I was wondering why Vandervoort was behind the Norjones all of a sudden. It turns out he went a little bit wide of Spoon and just caught that curb. Again, the curbs, once you get onto them sometimes you go a bit too far, they just get you and you just can't escape. So he's just got caught on the curb, gone wide, and that's let the two Norjones go through. So that explains why he's dropped back, and he's actually dropped back into the clutches of Pushka now, so there you go. Vandervoort might become victim of the Pushka train soon. He gets a bit of oversteer out of the second Degner there, so very interesting stuff to see as the Norjones continue to fight. Gaia still keeping in of Canapino, but how long will that be for? Only time will tell. The top two continue to really power away from Fran Lopez there. He's 5.2 down on the top two is Fran. He's clearly not quite got the pace of the top two drivers. Parker's just pretty much keeping with Fran at the moment. He hasn't really been able to make any major inroads into the Red Archer drivers. Little gap he's got on him there as the Norjones continue to fight here. Let's have a look what happens as they go down the straight. Remember, obviously the same cars. Actually, no, look at this Vandervoort. Almost feeling to go defensive there against Pushka. I reckon he might be the one to watch. Although look at this, here we go, Gaia going defensive in the chicane. Ooh, nearly looks like it was almost contact there as Canapino tries to get him, but he wasn't able to. Vandervoort also holding on behind them. But here we go, look at this Canapino right behind Gaia. And this is the two teammates, so I wonder how this will go as they go down the straight here. Gaia, yep, look at that, not going to defend. He's going to just let Canapino take the inside line. Will William have the position? He does. There you go. So, yep, Canapino. Oh, the Canapino's gone wide. Oh, nearly spins it through the first corner. Good save from Canapino there. And he manages to keep going. He's behind. Look at this. Pushka gets past Vandervoort, does he? The side-by-side through the first sector. This is amazing racing from these two to still be side-by-side. But there you go. Pushka gets the move done into the first corner. And I'll have a look back on the replay. Yeah, look, that Vandervoort went defensive. So Pushka's just gone, alright, I'll just go around the outside then. No worries at all. And he's gone around the outside and made the move stick. Very good stuff from Pushka there. Really classy overtake that was. And very clean too. Very good racing. I thought that was very nice and gentlemanly, which is good to see. He now moves to 7th spot, which is another spot for him and more points that he'll gain back on Fidek at the moment. And the Norjones continue to also battle there, although now obviously with that mistake, Guy's got a little bit of a gap. But yeah, Cooper still leads. He's got about, I'd say, half a second, maybe closer to a second now on Fidek, who's just dropping him back a little bit, as I think that superior straight line speed as the CSG maybe is having an impact. But 10 laps in now, we're into the double figures, and it's been quite a bit of a dramatic start really this race, hasn't it, Sam?
Yeah, certainly a lot more action than I really expected to see here. So it has been very eventful indeed and very important for the championship also. as the Fidex currently sits in second, and Chiguet is slowly starting to make his way back up, now in 7th position. And of course the fight between CSG and Vodbull in the constructors as well, it's going CSG's way at the moment, because of course Jurnej Simoncic, after going off the Degners, is all the way down in 18th position, and a good 26 seconds off any kind of points paying position as well. So Simoncic is going to have a lot of work to do this afternoon to be able to make the time back up and to get really any points he possibly can. I think points now getting so critical at this time of the season that anything is a good point really. It's definitely worth scrapping for, and we really saw that because Simoncic could have easily just given up and retired after that incident, but he got his way around the track, stayed on the lead lap as well, and came back out and is fighting away, as is Gaia and Canapino still for Norton Racing. They're still very close together. Gaia just ahead of Canapino. And it looks like Canapino could be lining Gaia up for a move in the not too distant future, is certainly all over the back of Gaia, and there's certainly no team orders here either. They're being allowed to race each other, and they've done well so far at keeping it clean.
Indeed, yeah, no, it seems like, yeah, I agree. It doesn't seem like there's really any team orders. This guy keeps defending really hard. Look at this, here we go down the chicane. Will Guy defend? No, doesn't feel the need. Canapino sticks in behind him there as they go through the chicane. But yeah, I don't think there's really any team orders indeed, because it seems like they're fighting, pretty hard. Oh, look at that, Guy's in. There we go. So the first of the pit stops. Guy's straight in as Riffle, this actually retired a couple laps ago there. Riffle, probably maybe from the damage he sustained. Also out there's David Feideck, he's in too. So here we go. Feideck and Gaia pits, and this hot bunch. And let's see who's going to blink. As we've got a couple now who've pitted. They're going to set the chain in motion. I wonder what that signals. That signals to me probably a 3-stop, I'm thinking, there. Because I'm assuming probably 2 runs on the options. I changed twice for options, once for prime would be my guess. So I'm going to guess it's a 3-stop for Gaia and Feideck. Sorry, just a little bit of a moment. There's Ryan's also in, Kieran Ryan for Phoenix from that last points paying position. So there you go. Look at this. Everyone's starting to make their pit stop moves now. It'll be interesting to see. Will Cooper flinch? Or will he stay out? Is he maybe on a 2-stop? We'll see. I know tyre wear around here is quite severe. From FC, I remember it was quite severe tyre wear. So let's have a look. We'll see what happens here as we go around now. Cooper's just getting to the end of his lap. Oh, who's that? Oh, hello. There you go. Canapino going wide through Spoon again. That's going to cost him time in his battle with Gaia. And Pushka also just gaining on him all the time. It's interesting to note. But yes, let's have a look. Where is Cooper now? He's just going through the final chicane now. Will he pit? I would suspect he might. I can't see a 2-stop being too economical. And yeah, there you go. Put Cooper straight into pit lane to react to Feideck. And will Fran go? No, Fran stays out. Parker in too. So there you go. They're stacking the CSGs by the looks of it. That's interesting to see. Let's have a look how this will go. I'm sure Cooper will be out pretty quick. It's not that long to change size. Yep, he's out. And there goes Parker. Fantastically timed from CSG. Where is Cooper going to come out? Is he going to keep the lead? Let's have a look here. Cooper's going along. I think he's going to have it, I suspect. Has he? Oh, no. Is that? Yeah, there you go. Feideck's through. There you go. Feideck takes the lead with the undercut. Fantastic move from the Hawkeye driver. And he's actually beat him out by quite a way, too. He's beat him out by about half a second there. So great stuff from Feideck. But he's actually stuck behind David Missilis. And this is full position because Missilis hasn't pitted yet. So this is a bit of a drama for Feideck. He probably wants to gap Cooper at the moment, but he can't because Missilis is right in front of him and he is for position. So he doesn't need to get out of the way because it's for position. So there you go. So Feideck jumps Cooper in the pit lane with that early stop. Very nicely done there from the Hawkeye driver. Can he maintain it though? As we know that CSG is very fast in a straight line. So we keep an eye on this very much with interest as Feideck goes now down towards the hairpin. We'll leave a look at Missilis. Missilis defends. Very interesting to see here. The Archer driver really fighting for his position despite the fact that these two have pitted and he hasn't.
Yeah, that's really interesting to see. He really doesn't need to defend. He could let these guys go and not lose too much time, but he's going to defend anyway, and Feideck's actually done him into Spoon. Got such a run towards Spoon that he was actually past Missilis by the time they got to the braking zone. So that's very good and very, very important by Feideck. And now we'll see how long it takes for Cooper to get past Missilis as we come up to 130R. He's very close to the tail of the Red Archer car and looks to the inside now. Oh, nearly loses it under braking, but gets it all kind of swept up and clean as we go into the next lap. He's got the position made, so he's on the back of Feideck now, and this battle will resume between the two. Looks like pitting one lap early certainly helped out Fido, because I believe we've had a couple more guys in the pits. Yeah, Fran Lopez comes out now, so he rejoins in 7th position and should slot back into 3rd after all the pit stops really kind of sort themselves out. It's also interesting to note that Gaia is in 8th and Tom Parker is back down to 9th, so Gaia also leapfrogged Parker in the pits, and has actually made up quite a bit of time on Lopez as well. So a very good effort by Gaia, and we'll see what his teammate Canapino does when he eventually pits, as he currently leads this race.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, no. So just a little note on the back end of the field. Roy Schroden has also retired. So we've now had actually 5 retirements. As Mikko Yakinen has also retired from this race. So 5 retirements already. We're down to only 20 runners. Roy Schroden there looked like he just lost out of the final corner into the wall, and he must have just thought the suspension damage was too severe, so he called it quits. But yeah, there you go. So Finek leads, will have the effective lead from Cooper, and then of course it would be Fran Lopez, who did seem to lose a bit of time in the stops. Guy's a lot closer to him than he was, and as he did point out, Parker definitely lost a position or 2 in the pit stop phase. And we should see how Canapino goes here, because he had a bit of as Pushka's in, by the way, and also as is Canapino. But yeah, Canapino made a mistake on us through Spoon a couple of laps ago, which would have lost him a lot of time. So we'll see how he goes. Pushka nearly overdoing his pit box there. He manages to get away with it. Fidak there goes past, takes back the lead now from Cooper. Fran Lopez should be 3rd, and yep, there he goes. He stays 3rd. Look at that, Canapino comes out 6th, so there you go. He manages to lose, well, effectively he pretty much holds station, but it's a bit of a switch between Gaia and Parker. Pushka comes out 7th, so he doesn't really gain or lose anything there. Stays the same for him. I believe Menno hasn't stopped yet, and there's Vandervoort in 9th, Mellon 10th, and there's Missless now 11th, or should be 10th, I'm assuming. When Pitts is well, that's interesting actually, by the way, too. Canapino on the prime, and it looks like he's the first of the front runners to go onto the prime, so that's interesting to see. Around some options, I suspect they'll do the option prime strategy, but Canapino deciding to go the option prime and then probably options for the rest of the race for the Norjo driver, so I'm interested to see how he goes, if maybe that pays dividends later in the race, but we'll keep an eye on that, as Gaia and Parker are relatively close in that battle for 4th spot. But interesting to note that the leaders are pretty good way ahead, so it's Finek 1.1 clear of Cooper, then Cooper's about 5 seconds clear of Lopez. Interesting to note, so good stuff there for those two. They really are sort of a bit of a gap ahead of the rest of the field as we go along now. Parker in that CSG, we know the CSG is fast, but the Norjone is too, and he's not really gaining at all down that back straight as they go through 130R now. Gaia still maintains that 4th spot. And he will be fine down the chicane. Yep, it looks like they are possibly even gaining slightly on Lopez, I suspect, as well. So this is going to be interesting to see if this becomes a 3-way fight over the podium spot. Guy, they're getting a very nice exit out of the last corner there. He actually gapped Parker quite nicely, and that should keep him ahead for the time being. Canapino not far behind. Expect him to possibly drop back in this stint because he's on the prime tyre, so keep that in mind. He shall come back around, just like JT, later in the race. Pushka 7th still as well, he's on the option 2, and everyone else, yeah, pretty much on the option except for, I believe it's Simoncic and Mason, but they are down the field at the moment. Simoncic up 16th, by the way, he's actually just attacking Ryan down through the 130. Oh, a bit of contact between the two. This battle for 15th. Ryan gets caught on the curb, and that gives Simoncic the position there. He's now back in the points, but that was a very brave move through 130 to have a go down there, but he manages to make it stick. And yeah, there you go, so he now takes that points position. One more thing as well, Menno, I know he hasn't stopped because he was battling with Ben Horrell before the stop started, so I'm interested to see how he goes, because I think he might be going for a cheeky 2-stop, Menno, so I'm going to be keeping an eye on how he goes, because I wonder if that's going to work. I suspect, I mean, it may work, but I don't know, I suspect the tyre dig may be too much, but what do you think, Sam? Do you think these 2-stop could be a valid option here?
I think it could be. I wonder whether Canapino is going to try and go for a stopper, because you'd think that considering the length of his first stop, that he'd only be doing maybe about 8 laps on these primes to get them out of the way. But if he decides to actually run long on these instead and go for another prime stint after that as well, Canapino could certainly make it into a 2-stop race by going to option prime. How much time he'll actually lose running the prime, so will be a different matter, and certainly one to kind of note over this next run. I think that's going to be one of the most interesting points of this second stint of the race now, to see what happens, as I think someone's dropping down the field. Yeah, Meadow Clont is actually in the pits for Hawkeye now, so he drops back out of the top 10, and takes on his tyres. It looks like he's going for another set of options as well, as the majority of the field are doing. And looks like he's going to actually drop down to about 13th position. So still in the points for Menno, but certainly dropped down a bit as Ben Horrell moves up into 12th. So that's actually a good effort by Ben to be in 12th position at the moment, and he's doing well as well.
Yeah, indeed. Sorry to jump in there. Was just going to say, yeah, he did indeed pass Menno, because Menno was ahead of him before the stops, and yeah, he's gained an effective. What is that? It's going to be probably an effective. What's the timing update? An effective. Yeah, 3 seconds clear. Yeah, so he gained an effective 4 seconds roughly there on Menno. So there you go. The undercut seems to be working, and he's actually dropped back into sort of the hands of Kenny as well. So yeah, interesting stuff indeed, I must say, as we go along now. 20 runners and riders left, but yeah, I'll tell you what, this battle is... Oh, hello, look at this Parker into the chicane. As a look at Gaia. Doesn't make the move stick, but has a little bit of a sneaky look there. So look at this Parker getting a bit, having a bit of a look here. He's getting closer and closer to the back of that Nordrone car. I'll tell you what, he's looking very good to possibly have a go here. Look at this, here we go, look at the slipstream. Parker getting very close to Gaia, has a little bit of a peak down to turn 1, but no, he didn't able to make the move stick there, as he just had a little bit of a peak there, just sort of going, you know, I'm here, guy, just so you know, I'm behind and I am looking for a way past, just so you're aware. So there you go, interesting to see, and interesting to note as well, they are kind of pretty much keeping with Fran, despite the fact that they are pretty much nose to tail, those two. So yeah, interesting stuff to see, as we'll keep an eye on that battle as we go along. And Canapino still sort of hanging on. He's still ahead of Pushka, which is interesting, because he's on that prime tyre, but he's not ridiculously slower than everybody else. So that is interesting to note, and I'm sure that everybody else will be watching that with interest.
Yeah, certainly. I think Parker's probably going to get a bit sick of looking at the back of Guy's car as soon as we got to the hairpin. Doesn't really have a chance of making a manoeuvre. It's going to take a mistake really from Guy to give Parker the run, I think, because Guy's going to be strong in a straight line, as we'll see that right now as we go towards the spoon curve. Yeah, he's just way too strong in a straight line, and really it looked like during the pit stop phase, in the out lap and in lap alone, Guy really gained over 2 seconds on Parker just from those 2 laps. So it wasn't even anything to do with an undercut. It was just the amount of time difference between the two on the in and out laps. So that's a good effort by Gaia, and certainly showed that he was committed on those 2 laps. Parker will be hoping to get past Gaia once again, because Lopez is just up the road, and that's potential for a podium for Parker, which would be good for him for what he's doing for CSG at the moment, because they are really in a tight championship battle and they need all the points they can get. So double podium for CSG would definitely be helpful in their title challenge at this current time. Parker,
Yeah, indeed.
I was looking at this, he's going to get frustrated, isn't he, here, Parker, because he just can't find a way past Gaia. It's such a hard track to overtake on, and it really is going to have to come down to a mistake.
Yeah, indeed. No, I agree. Yeah, it is very hard, especially when as he actually, speak of mistakes, Parker's going a bit wide out of Digna too. That's actually cost him a whole buckload of time there. He's lost about a second now to Gaia. He will still be relatively close, but yeah, no, I do agree, especially when the Nordrone is so fast in a straight line. I mean, CSG is fast, but so is the Nordrone. They're both probably equally as fast in a straight line, possibly the Nordrone slightly more so, judging from how they've been going so far. So that's not helping Parker's cause, and it's going to be very, very hard for him to make moves stick, especially when you've got Guy who's, you know, definitely knows what he's doing in that car. And yeah, it's going to be hard to do, that's for sure. But I'm sure he'll keep trying, Parker. He'll definitely keep having a go, and he won't let up, that's for sure. We know Tom Parker, and we know he doesn't give up without a fight. Pushka, by the way, on the back of Canapino. He's finally got up to the back of him after those first stops. Took him a while, a bit longer than I expected, but here we go, down to the chicane. Canapino going defensive on Pushka. Pushka maybe with a hold around the outside. No, he's going to go for the switchback, try and get that exit, and then have a go down to turn 1 would be my guess. He gets a pretty solid exit there out of the corner. I'd say he's probably close enough to have a go here. That ball as well is also quite fast in a straight line. Look at this, Pushka in the slipstream, has a look to the inside. Canapino not really fighting. He might try and hold it around the outside. No, there you go. So Pushka gets through into 6th spot now. I think Canapino, being on that slower tyre, he knew that Pushka was coming. He was coming at him throughout this stint, and he knew he was going to get to him eventually. So he just thought, I'll fight it, to a degree. But I'm not going to fight it too hard. It'll start to impair my race. So Canapino, a bit of a smart driving there, knowing when to fight and when not to fight. It's always a vital skill to know what fights you should fight and what fights you shouldn't fight. And I think that was a fight that he definitely shouldn't really fight Canapino, because Pushka was always going to get past him eventually. And so Pushka moves into 6th spot now. Next up on his hit list is Tom Parker in 5th, but he is a bit of a gap up the road. He's about 3 seconds up the road from the Vodball driver. But we know Pushka, we know he's fast, and we know he's consistent. So if anyone's going to catch him, it will be Pushka in that Vodball car. But again, that is just helping his plight to minimise the damage Fidek could possibly do to that championship lead. So we'll do a quick run through the order. It's still Fidek 1.6 clear from Alex Cooper, or 1.7 now clear of Alex Cooper. Then it's a bit of a gap back to Fran Lopez, still holding on in third. A good race from him so far. Then it's fourth, Firing Guy. Fifth, Tom Parker. Philip Pushka, sixth from Augustin Canapino. Vandervoort there is eighth in the first in the Midnights, followed by his teammate Pedro Mellon, he's ninth. There's Devil's Missiles in the second, Renacha, he's 10th. Jason Muscat, 11th in the sole surviving Adonis Engineering car. Van Horrell, 12th in the also sole surviving Green Stripes racing car. Good race from him so far. Renault Clont, 13th in the second Hawkeye. Then it's Kenny Lobeer, 14th in the first of the Nijos. And 15th, and rounding out your points at the moment, is Jonik Senicic, recovering from that accident earlier in the race. And he is going to get a point at this rate. So good stuff from him. And I'm sure he'll continue to fight through the field here as he gets closer and closer to the guys ahead.
Yeah, certainly. I was just looking at something, and yeah, I was looking at Pushka's time, really. He's actually been quicker than Parker over the last few laps, even with having to, attack Canapino. So Pushka certainly looks like the quicker of the two for this battle for 5th place. It's still about 3.2 seconds between the two at the moment, but you'd have to say that Pushka's probably going to close down on Parker and get to the back of him, especially if Parker catches back up with Gaia as well, and they begin to battle it out once again. So there's currently about 1.5 second gap in the two after Parker had that slight off coming out the second Degner earlier on, about a lap or two ago. But still at the front, Fidek is leading this race, and he's looking a bit more, I guess you could say, relaxed now after that first stint where he actually lost out to Cooper, but now he's got a 2-second lead. He's actually looking fairly comfortable and doing low 1 minute 30s, quite similar to Cooper and also to the likes of Parker as well. Parker and Pushka as well. So there's actually not much between some of these guys. Lopez has actually been faster than the leaders over the last few laps and has brought the gap down between himself and the two leaders by about a second.
He nearly, just talking about him, he nearly lost it there through the end of the first sector there, the long sweeping left-hander before the Degners. He nearly lost that, just touched the grass and nearly went round there. Good save actually in the end. So yeah, being Fran Lopez, we know Fran, and we know he's always pushing 110%, and he's definitely pushing hard now. As you say, he's just slowly brought down that gap, just eked it down a little bit. It is still 8 seconds, still quite a gap, and I'd say what, Fidek will be very comfortable, as you did point out. I do suspect that once that Hawkeye gets alone, on its own and out of the way of other drivers and having to worry about slipstream, I think it is actually quite fast when it's not getting slipstream from behind or in a pack. But once Cooper gets in the slipstream and gets really close, just that speed advantage the CSG has just really comes into effect. And I think that's why Fidek's been able to really hold his own at the moment, because he doesn't have Cooper right behind him able to just slipstream past him at the first chance. So that's really helping his cause out. As Lopez goes along, let's check Lopez's gap. It'll probably be a bit more now because of that mistake. It's 8.3 seconds is the gap. So he lost a little bit of time there with that mistake at the end of the first sector, but he is still within range, and he is managing to maintain the gap to Gaia, who's also maintaining the gap to Parker, who's seemingly maintained the gap to Pushkara, and even Canapino actually isn't really that far behind. So there's not really any head-to-head battles at the moment. Everyone's kind of in their own space now as we get into the rhythm of this Japanese Grand Prix for 2015 for Super League. 23 of 53 laps gone, so we're actually approaching the halfway mark, believe it or not, 43% through to be precise. So we're getting the halfway mark. I'll tell you what, it's been, I really do think it's been quite a fascinating first half of the race. We've had some people being caught out by the track as we suspected they would, Suzuka being the unforgiving circuit it is. So we've had the incidents, we've had spins, people crashing off, had really, really close, hard-fought battling, and really fascinating fight at the front as Fidek leading at the moment, but we've seen Cooper, we know he's fast. And I really do, as you pointed out before the race, Sam, it really will come down to the strategy, who's got the better tyre wear, who's got the better strategic mind in this race.
Yeah, that's why I was wondering whether Cooper would start to reel Fidek back in at the end of this run, as that's where he looked like he was stronger at the end of the first run, but so far that's not really happening, and he's actually losing out to Fidek. just a little bit lap by lap. It's not much, it's hardly anything at all, but it just shows how competitive and how close it is. Oh yeah, Fidek is actually in the pit, so that's a fairly early pit stop for his second stop. He pits on about lap 12 actually, yeah, so it's about right for Fidek. So he's doing about 12 laps per stint at the moment. He goes on to another set of option compound tyres and comes back out in 7th position, so we should expect to see him back in about lap 36 then.
Yeah, it should be 36 if he's going to stick to his strategy, yeah, which is interesting. And notice that no one else came in of the top guys, which is just a bit interesting. Which I mean, Canapino was the only one I believe that went in with him last time, and of course he's gone the primes, that's why he hasn't gone in now. But yeah, that's interesting. I don't know, I'm a bit intrigued by that. He's the only one to pit so early, which I don't know, it shows to me that A, he's probably not the best on his tyres, and B, I wonder if they'll come back and sort of bite him at the end of the race, because if you've got better tyres in the race, you'll be a lot quicker guys around you. So keep an eye on that. I'm interested to see if Cooper blinks again. He probably will. I mean, seeing how well the undercut went last time, I suspect he'll come in probably this lap, if not this lap, definitely the next. So we'll keep an eye on that for you as we go along now, lap 24 of 53. But yes, no, Cooper looking very good here at the moment. Still Fran Lopez, of course, he's still there, Fran Lopez. And we know Fran Lopez, as I said before, he never gives up, and he always gives about 130% if that's possible, because he's always pushing as hard as he can. Look at that, Cooper doesn't pit. There you go. I wonder if maybe he's thinking the long game here. He's thinking, if I stay out a couple of laps extra and take the pain now, then I'll get the gain later when his tyres are dead and mine are good. So yeah, here we go. This is that strategic battle that we're talking about before the broadcast beginning. Now as Van Bork pits for the Midnight Motorsport crew, and actually look at that, Pedro Mellon's actually under big pressure from Devil's Missilis here. This is a nice spot at the back end of the 10. Look at this Missilis right behind the Midnight Driver. So go down the main straight towards turn 1. Missilis looking to the outside, not going to be close enough to make a move stick. Mellon holds for the time being. So a bit of a nice battle there at the back end of the top 10. As Van Bork pits from there, so he'll drop probably back to, drop to 10th, comes out ahead of Jason Muscat in 11th. And yeah, there you go. So Cooper staying out. I think that is, as we've said before, this is that strategic battle we're talking about for the broadcast, Sam. It's starting to come to the fore.
Yeah, it certainly is. And Cooper's doing okay in terms of lap time. He's actually dropped into the high 130s now. So I suppose that was on the last lap, so he might have just made a slight error on the previous lap. But it certainly has helped Fran Lopez reel Cooper in a little bit, although he's actually dropped about 7/10 on this lap, so I wonder if he just got held up a little bit trying to get around the Woods racing car of Morten Wernersen, who's currently in 17th place. He's just been lapped by the top two in the field, so I think Lopez might have just lost out a little bit there as Cooper now pits in. Yeah, so here comes Cooper. This is going to be interesting. I think he'll have lost a little bit more time to Fidek when he comes back out the pits.
Yeah, indeed. No, I agree. I think he might have. I always lose that. That's also one of the. It'll be Guy. Yeah, sorry. For the moment of thinking, but yeah, Guy also pitting. Look at that. Yeah, Fidek is battling with Canapino, by the way. This is 4 positions, so Canapino has a right to fight. Just look at that down to turn 1. Canapino fighting very hard. And yeah, look at that. I think you're right. Cooper lost even more time in that pit stop. So he's just, the strategy's not working. But I wonder, do you reckon he'll get this or sort of help him at the end of the race, Sam? Or do you think maybe the pain's a bit too much to really gain back at him?
I think it could be a case of really perhaps a little bit too much, right? And because considering that he's probably only going to pit, say, a couple of laps later than Fidek, when it comes to the end of the race, Fidek now goes to the outside of Canapino at the hairpin. He's going to take a very wide line. He'll get a good traction out the corner though on the better tyres as well, and he'll try and get the move on Canapino, but still he cannot do it because Canapino's actually defending pretty well and just placing his car at the right point in the track. And even in Spoon on the inside, Fidek can get past. But yeah, it looks like I guess Cooper's probably going to pit about 2 or 3 laps later in this next stint, at the end of this next stint, and then he'll just have a few laps fresher tyres, which isn't actually going to make that much of a difference. So you'd have to say the undercut is probably working much more effectively for Fidek, and he's really been able to dictate this race right now and be the guy to set when he wants to pit, and everyone else is having to work around him. So this is looking like a very strong race for Fidek, but he does need to get past Canapino so he doesn't lose too much time.
Indeed, no, yeah, that's very true. He's really getting held up by the Norjon driver, and Canapino, as I said, it is full position, so he doesn't really have to get out of the way. So he's not doing anything wrong, but he's really not helping Fighter at all. He's pretty much almost lost the advantage he gained in that pit stop now at this point. Is being held up by Cooper. Fran Lopez is also, there or thereabouts, as I believe someone else is pitted there. But there you go. So, yeah, interesting stuff indeed. It's very, very interesting to watch. As Fighter tries to get past Canapino, and of course Canapino being on the prime, he's probably not going to pit for a while yet, so Canapino's not going anywhere anytime soon. He's going to still keep fighting and fighting and fighting and fighting. So it's very, very interesting to see. I'm sure Fighter was probably trying to beat Canapino out, but he didn't quite beat him out. That's really hampering his pace right now, and it's going to bring him back into the clutches of Cooper. As I said, I think once Cooper gets within range, within the slipstream, he'll just fly past, because that CSG is just that much quicker than the Hawkeye. And you really noticed it earlier in the race when Cooper got the pass on Fighting to get into the lead originally. So Canapino, you get a bit of wheel spin there in the exit. He got a bit of a moment. So this maybe can be Fighting's chance. Again, that Norjon is very fast on a straight line. So it's going to be hard for Fighting to make a move. He's right behind him as they go through 130R. He's going to be very close into the hit. Into the chicanes. Canapino again going defensive. Or Fighting going to go around the outside. Or goes a bit wide off the track onto the grass. And he's going to lose a bunch of time to Cooper. He doesn't get the move stick on Canapino, and Canapino keeps second spot. So a bit of a dive there from Fighting. He really committed to try and go around the outside. He just couldn't make it stick. Went a bit too late onto the grass, and that's really costing time to Cooper now. As Cooper's within a few seconds, it's basically back to as it was before the stops now. And obviously Fran as well is not far behind either in that Red Archer car. And even Gaia as well. Gaia and Parker and Co are not that far behind as we go along. Where is... Oh, Pushkar still hasn't pitted right. I thought we'd lost Pushkar. I was like, oh my god, but no, Pushkar hasn't stopped yet. He's still going in that Bob car. So he's obviously pushing that stint a while. Maybe he'll go for a two-stop. We'll see. But here we go, look at this. We've got one of the Woods cars. I believe that will be Morton again in front of these guys. Now, hopefully he won't hold them up too much. Who is that? I swear I just saw someone change position. But there you go. Yeah, Morton getting out of the way nice and sensible. Good stuff there. As we go along now, look at this Hot Fighter right behind Canapino. I'm sure he'll be teaming right now. That he's stuck behind the Norjon driver, so it's really not helping his race right now.
No, it's certainly not. He's going to have a look coming through Spoon, but again, just not quite close enough. He'll get a good run out of the corner though. He just let off a little bit through the centre of the corner and got a good run. So Canapino's going to have to go defensive in 130R, and Fighter's actually going to have the outside, which could work out. He's going to be committed to the inside of the chicane. This is the best opportunity for Fighter, and there we go. He just slots it up the inside, gets the job done, and now he'll surely pull away from Canapino. That was important because I have a feeling that Canapino is probably going to stay out until the end of lap 34, as he's actually coming back on Fighter now. Goes to the outside into turn 1, but just not quite there. He probably would have been a bit silly to try and make the move back, because Fighter's really much faster than him on the softer compound tyres, much nearer as well. Just as that's finishing off, Canapino is probably going to go another 4 or 5 laps, just to make this a symmetrical two-stopper by doing about 19 laps on each of the 2 prime compound stints that he's going to do to end this race. So now it's going to be Cooper that's going to be feeling the pain of trying to get past Canapino in the next lap or 2.
Ooh, yeah, indeed. Oh no, Morton's round. Fran Lopez and Morton Wernson now Digna 2 have just had a bit of an incident there, and Morton's gone round. Let me have a look what happened here. So Morton, he's run wide through Degner, and oh boy, that's a bit awkward. He's run wide through the Degner, and he's just kind of almost stopped on the exit of the corner, and Fran really had nowhere to go. He's gone straight to the back of him. That sent Morton round. So a bit of a shame there. Is actually Matthew Allington has retired as well, by the way. So that's I believe his 7th retirement. So he retires in the Kerno car. A bit of a shame for him. He was going along at the back of the field there. So that leaves us with 19 runners and riders left, as Morton Wernson now limps around without a front wing in that Woods car. A bit of an interesting incident there. We go along now, and yeah, Canapino now under the pump from Alex Cooper, as David Fighting has gotten clear in that Hawkeye car. So it was a good move, by the way. I was quite impressed with that one. Holding it around the outside of 130R is always a very, very dangerous and brave game to play. But he managed to make it stick, and there was enough room given that he managed to get around it without having a big incident. And so, yeah, very, very brave move from Vitek, but it paid off in the end. So good stuff from the Hawkeye driver. And he'll be hoping to really gallop away now, as these two behind him now battlers. Now Cooper is having to do the same thing that Vitek did, but of course he's in the CSG, so he's got a bit more straight line speed than that Hawkeye does. Hopefully for his sake that might help him out in getting past. As Misslist also pits, by the way, and drops back to 10th. He should be easily in 10th as Menno is quite a distance back in that Hawkeye car. And yeah, we're going along now. Lightbeer is the last point scorer. Just so we know, but yes, Canapino and Cooper, that's probably your closest battle right now, as everyone else, once again, is pretty spaced out. Everyone else kind of in their own little area, just going along. And yeah, so those two there, pretty much your closest battle for the podium, of course. Whether this will be how it is at the end of the race, we'll see, because we'll just see if Canapino does do a 2-stop, or whether he will go back to 3-stop. We'll see how we go, but of course, I'm just interested to see if it'll work. Interesting to see. Again, as we said, strategy is going to play a part in this race. As Cooper right behind Canapino, he got a very good exit out of Spoon there. I think he might have a look into 130R, will he? He's going to have a look. Yep, goes to the inside. Oh, it's almost a bit of contact there between the two. They get away with it though in the end. Canapino defending into the chicane. He holds for the time being. A little bit of a moment for the chicane that's going to hold him up there and cost him time. And that Cooper right behind the Nordrone driver. I suspect Cooper's going to surely get the move done now down to turn 1. He's just been so close to him. But again, look at that straight line speed of the Nordrone. So much speed. Canapino's got the straight line. He's still able to defend despite the fact that Cooper is clearly faster. It's just that straight line speed. As I said, that Nordrone is an absolute rocket ship in a straight line. It really is showing here so far.
Yeah, it certainly is. And Cooper's going to have to keep, just attacking here. So he looks to regain second position as Pushka has just pitted. And interestingly enough, Pushka's gone onto the prime compound tyres at the end of lap 31. So he's going to have about 22 laps to do on these primes. I wonder if Pushka's going to try and convert this into an interesting 2-stopper and try and go all the way. As Cooper has a look at Canapino on the inside, going through the hairpin. But Canapino gets a run out the corner and Cooper has to sit back on his tail once again as we go to the spoon, and still nothing that Cooper can really do. And Fidek's going to be extending his advantage once again after having to get past Pino himself. But now Canapino's really holding up Cooper, and I think he's still got a couple more laps to do on these primes as well. Cooper now dives to the inside, going towards. He's spun it! Wow. He looked a bit shaky under braking earlier going into the chicane, and he's done it once again. And this time he spun right around and actually lost out to Fran Lopez. So Fran Lopez is in a net second position right now, and Cooper is back into third.
Yeah, indeed. No, yeah, just pushing too hard. There it was. It was just too desperate to get the move done, and in the end, just pushed it that slight bit too far. Probably locked the rears, judging from the spin. I'm going to guess he locked the rears, and round he went. So real shame for Coop there. But again, it's just that's just again showing that straight line speed of that Nordrone. It really is quite incredible how fast that thing is in a straight line. And I mean, the CSG, of course, is no slouch as well. That's a very fast car as well on the straight line. But even Coop in the slipstream was really struggling to get past Canapino. So really interesting to see here as we go along. Cooper, just a little bit of a mistake. Round he goes. Thankfully, he didn't lose too much time. He only lost about sort of 2 or 3 seconds, or about sort of 3 or 4 seconds in the end. So he doesn't lose too much time, but he does drop behind Fran Lopez. So Fran Lopez now gains effective second. Although it could be effective third, really, because I think Fidek, probably Fran and Cooper and probably even Guy are all going to do 3 stops, and Parker actually. And that, as we were saying, that might bring Pushka back into the race actually, because if he does do a 2-stop, which I really think is entirely possible, because I think 22 laps on the prime should be doable surely from this point. So yeah, he maybe play himself back into this race, Pushka, being very, very, very sneaky and very, very nifty with his strategy. He may well come back into this, which would be very, very good for his championship hopes. So we'll keep an eye on that. And I think, it'll be interesting to see how this goes. If the top guys pit again, which they actually have to, because they haven't run the prime yet, he should come right back into this. Again, this could even play Canapino maybe back into this race. So yeah, very, very interesting finisher I think we'll have to the end of this race as everyone starts to sort of come together and sort out the strategies as we go along now. As I believe, actually, Simincic on the back of Ben Horrell now. He's caught up to the back of the green stripes driver. That's the 13th spot. And surely you'd think Yonek's going to get past very, very soon, as he is, of course, a much faster car than Ben is there, as he still continues his charge to the field. There's a recovery drive as they go along now. Let's just have a look now at that battle. Further back. Yep, so now it's this. Now it's Fran Lopez on the back of Canapino. So Canapino just cannot catch a break right now, as we've got Fran Lopez now right behind him. Was that a bit of contact maybe there? I think there may have been a little bit of contact between Canapino and Fran just goes straight past there. I think it may have been a touch. I'll just try and have a look at the replays. A bit hard to tell, but yeah, interesting stuff here as we go along into the hairpin. Let me have a look. Yeah, I reckon that may have been a bit of contact between Fran and Canapino, and Fran goes straight past, and Canapino now drops back to third. So yeah, interesting to see. I wonder if maybe there'll be any post-race protests going through. We'll obviously see as we get to the end of the race. But yeah, very interesting stuff to see now as Fran takes second spot. Okay, yeah, so yeah, our cameraman Josh just saying that he reckoned if Canapino just went wide, it is possible, yeah, it could have been wide, it could have just been a little moment in the braking zone, entirely possible. Obviously I can't really give a definitive verdict obviously on the fly here, but yeah, it's possibly went wide, but yeah, we'll see. I'm sure it'll be looked at post-race probably, if maybe Canapino feels it was not legit. Of course he can obviously protest that, we'll see of course after the race, but yeah, either way, that does leave Fran Lopez in second spot in that Red Archer car. Now third, of course, Canapino. That's Cooper and Gaia now. Actually pretty close to the back of Cooper. And then, of course, it's Parker in sixth spot. Bushka in seventh spot. And then it's Vandervoort in eighth. Michelis in ninth in second, the Red Archer. So top 10 looks to be on the cards for Red Archer if they can hold it together, which is good stuff for them. Mellon now holds on to the last top 10 spot there in 10th spot. There's Metaclont in 11th, a good little recovery drive from him after qualifying at the back end of the teens. That's Jason Muscat in 12th. Yannick Simic, who has managed to get past Ben Horrell, he's in 13th now. Ben Horrell in 14th, and still Kenny Lybear rounding out your point scorers in 15th spot as we go along now. Lap 34.53 in the latter half of the race now. And yeah, it's going to be interesting to see when all these strategies start to come together, who's going to gain and who's going to feel the pain.
Yeah, it's certainly really spiced it up seeing Canapino and Pushka go on to differing strategies, and now Cooper once again is stuck up behind Canapino, but he's actually gone a bit wide at the chicane as Canapino just slotted back in front of Cooper, and he still goes around once again, so he's really making this second stint of his quite a long one as Cooper's now got the inside going into turn one, but Canapino just pulls out right at the end. It's right at the end of the straights where the Norseman really just finds that extra couple of miles per hour to just extend the little gap between the two, and Cooper is going to get more and more frustrated, and now he's actually got a run on Canapino going to the outside through the S's and has made the move stick even before we got to the Degners, so that's an interesting place to overtake, and I think it really came about the fact that Canapino just went a little bit wide, and he drops back now into fourth, and I have a feeling that he's probably going to get out of the way of his teammate Gaia right here, as he doesn't really want to be holding Gaia up, who's actually got a chance of a podium right here if he can catch Alex Cooper and overtake him.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, no, interesting to see if he does move out of the way, but as we said, I mean, if he does do a two-stop, he'll be pretty much effectively where he is, so this is for position, so interesting to see. I mean, we haven't really seen any team tactics between these two yet, so I'm not entirely convinced that Canapino will make it easy, and to be fair, Canapino is higher up in the championship. Here we go, Gaia, down the straight, he's down the inside at 130R, and there you go, yeah, makes the move stick. I think Canapino knew that he was, there's no real point fighting it, because Gaia's just got so much more pace than he does at the moment. Of course, Nor Jones, so there's no real straight line advantage which Canapino has, and Canapino, there you go, he dives into pit lane now. He's obviously thought these tyres have had enough, which is fair enough. It's been a very long stint, quite impressed actually he's managed to extend them so long. But it is still going to be interesting to see, will he go on the option tyre, will he go onto the prime? Let's have a look. He goes on the option tyre, interesting, that's there you go, so yeah, onto the option tyre, he's going to be, as we suspected, quite fast in this last stint, so we'll keep an eye on that. He actually comes out right behind Vandervoort. Interesting. So suspect he may have been wanting to come out ahead of Vandervoort, but he's right behind him. So again, he might get held up by traffic, which has seemed to be a bit of a theme for the leaders so far this race. It's pretty much every single stop someone's got held up by traffic. So there you go. So keep an eye on that and see how quickly he can dispose of Vandervoort. I'm sure he'll try and do as fast as possible, because he will be very fast with fresh option tyres as we go along now. So we'll interesting to see if anyone blinks now. Maybe they'll go on to the prime, try and cover him off. But there you go. Fidex still leads, by the way. I've been a bit quiet about him. He's kind of been off on his own in the last stint, just doing his own thing. He leads by 4.8 seconds from Fran Lopez. Alex Cooper now into third finally, after making that very, very good move, I thought. Very brave and opportunistic move on Canapino. Very good stuff from the CSG driver, showing his talent that we all know Alex Cooper has. That's Following guy in fourth, and he's actually catching Alex Cooper thanks to Cooper being held up by Canapino. This has kind of brought Guy into the game to get that third spot as we were talking about before. He's got a potential for a podium here. I believe that would I think he got the third spot in Singapore, so it would follow up his form from there. I'm sure Guy would love nothing more than to get another podium on the board as Fidek is in. There he goes, so he blinks. He does blink to the stop from Canapino, and we'll see where he goes. Obviously on the prime, he has to use the prime because he hasn't actually done that prime stint yet this race. And here as he goes, he comes out, he will obviously beat out Canapino, but interestingly enough, and probably crucially, look at that, he's only just ahead of Philip Pushka, so there you go. Pushka, there you go. I think he's really nicely, hasn't he, played himself into this game again. After having that spin, having dramas in the early race, he really has kind of played himself back in this race with that savvy strategy, hasn't he, Sam?
Yeah, it certainly has, and I really wouldn't be surprised to see Pushka go all the way to the end now. I think if he was to pit, he would do a very short stint of these primes and then come back out on the options, but I can't see that being effective or something that he's going to do. So effectively right now, Pushka is in the net second position. We'll see how much time he loses to Fidek, who's actually struggling to get past Kira Ryan here a little bit, and he loses it in the hairpin, who just collects it all back up, and Pushka nearly ran into the back of Fidek. Was all the action and chaos going on in front of him. But yeah, Pushka's effectively in a second position, as Fidek is effectively in first once everything shakes out. So it'll be interesting to see how Pushka manages these tyres, these prime compound tyres that he's had on for quite a few more laps now than Fidek, and see whether he can run them to the end of the race. I think Pushka pits on about lap 31, if I remember correctly. So it'll be 22 laps on these primes. It's not easy to do at all. That's certainly going to be the case, as it'll be interesting to see where everyone else kind of shakes out around them as well, and see how far the likes of Lopez, Cooper and Gaia will go in this stint before they pit once again. I expect to see Cooper in a couple of laps time, as he's always coming a lap or two after Fidek in every single pit stop. But as for Lopez, he could go on a bit longer because he usually pitted after Cooper as well. So this is really going to be interesting now. This is a very important part of the race, and it's certainly going to all heat up in these last few laps.
Yeah, indeed, no, very true. I agree. It's going to also start coming to the fore now and all sort of mesh together as everyone's strategies sort of play out. And look at that, Pushka's right behind Fidek. Certainly going quite fast, even though he has older tyres. Still going alright, but I'm going to be interested to see how those tyres go, because I do think they'll be quite worn at the end of the stint, and they will be worse off than his opponents around him. So it's possible Pushka's strategy might not quite end up going as well as he hopes, but we will see. We'll see how good that football car is on its tyres as we look at now. And Fran Lopez still keeps going around. As you can see, Cooper as well, yep, keeps going around. Guy keeps going around, and yep, Parker keeps going around. So this is interesting to see. Obviously, these guys not feeling comfortable on doing the longest down the prime tyre. Of course, they have to do the prime tyre because they haven't run it yet. So they have to. They don't really have a choice. They have to do it to obviously fulfil the requirement of the race. Obviously, you've got to, in a full dry race, use both the option and the prime tyre. So they've got to switch to the prime, and they are really leaving it quite late. And I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see if that ends up gaining them time. If they keep staying out like this, I suspect they might start losing time, because that option will just keep going off and keep getting slower and slower and slower, while Fidek and Pushka just keeps going along at the same sort of faster pace because they have newer tyres than them. But Pushka's still holding on. He's still holding at the back of Fidek in that bobble car, despite being on considerably older tyres than the man ahead of him. But that's interesting to see as we go along now. Fran Lopez continues to lead, as we've said before. Yeah, I'm interested to see how this goes, because yeah, all the strategies are sort of going to mesh together, and it could be quite interesting to see who gains and who doesn't gain from this. So yeah, as you can see, is Canapino also obviously just behind. He's still sort of thereabouts, but he is a bit of a gap behind. But again, he's on that option tyre, Augustin. Remember that he's done the alternate strategies. He's on the option tyre when everyone else around him will be on prime. So I'm interested to see if he can really, use that to his advantage in that Nordrone car. We know he's fast, and we know that Nordrone is an absolute rocket ship in a straight line. So I wouldn't be surprised if when he gets to the back of the guys ahead of him, he really becomes a real pain to them and really challenges them for their positions.
Yeah, and Lopez right now is just pumping in the lap times. He's constantly doing low 129s, which is really, really good. Compared that to Fidek, who's doing about mid to high 29. So Lopez is actually cutting the gap down between himself
Ooh.
and Vidic the longer he stays out. As Guy comes out the pits in front of Cooper, behind Canapino. So Cooper's really lost out in the second half of this race. He's now finding himself down in 7th position, and he may not improve too much in that position right now.
Yeah, no, so sorry to a little bit of a worried little sign there, as I nearly thought there was contact between Gaia and I believe that's Kieran Ryan there in the Phoenix as they went to lap him, as he sort of cut across the track there and nearly caused a bit of a calamity, but they got through okay. But look at that Cooper right behind Gaia in that CSG car. But yeah, there you go, as you said, yeah, Cooper really losing out in the second half of the race. He's gone from being right behind Vidic to being a good 10 seconds behind Vidic, so bit of a bad stint for Cooper now, as he's on obviously the prime tyre because he had to. But yeah, Augustin, as we said, he's on the option tyre. I think he's the one to look out for in this last stint. But he has got quite a gap to really bring down to Vidic. It is quite a large gap. I'm not really sure that he can do it. He's only got about 13, 14 laps to do it. I just don't know if he's got enough of a pace advantage to actually make it work. As yep, Fran Lopez is in the pit lane now. Tom Parker continues on in the CSG there, maybe going for a longer stint now as Fran Lopez pits from the lead. As we were just saying before there, as Sam pointed out, he was really doing good laps in that Red Archer car. He's on the option again, which is interesting. I thought he hadn't done his prime stint, but I could be wrong. But either way, he's going to come out behind Pushka in fourth spot, which should be effective third once Parker pits, which is interesting to see. I thought he hadn't done his prime stint. Maybe he had. Maybe I missed it, but yeah. But either way, he is.
No, he is on the primes.
Oh, he's on the prime, right? Sorry, I thought I saw him go on the option. Sorry, my bad. I swear I saw option, but it might have been.
I thought I saw option as well. I think maybe just didn't update quick enough. That's very odd to see. But yeah, he is on the prime tyres now, so he's doing his final allocation, and now he's got to try and attack the two guys ahead of him. The times that he's pumping in on the options really helped him out at the end of that stint and has closed the gap. He's only about 2 seconds behind Philip Pushka, who's on about 10 laps older prime tyres as well. So Lopez is going to be on course for a second position here. I think first might just be a little bit too far away. We'll see how his times compare to Vidic over the next few laps, but it's looking very good for Lopez right now. Very strong race from the Red Archer driver.
Yeah, indeed, yeah, no, I was just looking there, Simchich was battling with Libeer, but Libeer pitted, and actually Clont is on the back of Muscat for 13th as we go along now, as it's having a look now. Parker in the pit lane, as Josh there's whispering there, good pick up from our cameraman there as Parker now finally flinches. A bit of a late stop from him. He's only going to have an 11 lap stint on the prime. It's a very, very short stint on those prime tyres. Obviously not very confident of those tyres being very good, so he's obviously catering for that by having a much shorter stint, but he should come out just behind Gaia, actually, possibly. Let's have a look here. He's going to slide in right behind, or with Gaia, or just behind him, yep, so Gaia just slots in ahead of him there, but Parker will have very fresh prime tyres, so we're interested to see if he can really challenge Cooper and Gaia ahead of him. There's a bit of a gap back to Missless there in 8th spot. But yeah, there you go. Fran Lopez, the thing I'll find interesting is, will he start coming under pressure from Canapino? Because again, Canapino's on those option tyres. Will he start coming under the pump from the Northern driver? Or will maybe those options, will they start sort of petering out? Because he has had them for a while. It is quite a longer stint that Canapino is having to do on those option tyres. So I'm kind of thinking that maybe he might sort of have seen the best of those tyres by the last few laps. And he might actually start dropping off to guys around him, which will be interesting to see if that happens, because that would sort of negate the effect of that. Missless is off. Degner 2, he's gone off into the wall, lost his front wing. Such a shame for the Red Archer driver. He'd had such a good, consistent race, nice and quiet. He'd been on his own most of the race. We haven't really seen him much, but he's gone off and he's gone straight on with the hairpin, so that's going to lose him even more time there. And I'll just have a look at what happened. Looks like he got, caught on the anti-cuts, went wide at Degner 1. Over the anti-cuts he goes and straight into the wall. And Degner 2, so there you go. The Degners claim yet another victim here at this Japanese Grand Prix. As we said, the Degners are very, very dangerous corners. We figured that they would claim a few victims. It looks like Missless has joined that list of victims in that Red Archer car. He drops down to 10th spot. He does have quite a big gap actually back to Van Horrell. He's a long way back in 11th spot. So he may well manage to keep that 11th spot. that 10th spot. Devilish, so it's not an absolute disaster, but it does lose him a couple of spots, which is a shame for him. But if he can limp it back, he's got a good like 40 seconds down the road to Ben Horrell, so he should hold on to 10th spot. So not a complete disaster, but there you go. So Parker and Guy are actually battling their 4th, 6th spot and I believe that's Parker just getting past Gaia now. So Parker gains a spot again in that CSG car, and he's actually looking very, very fast, I must say, in that car. Maybe the prime tyre works for Tom, as he really is Parker Ladd being Parker Ladd right now, and really flying actually in that car as he's made the move on Gaia. Stickers Gaia goes wide through Degging 2, he loses even more time to Parker. Yeah, interesting to see. I think Gaia seems to be struggling a bit on these prime tyres in that Nordrone car, which is interesting to note. So a bit of a shame for Gaia, who's looking like he could be on solid for a podium. He's down in 7th, so a bit of a shame, but still good points for Gaia. I'm sure that Will Panisi, the team boss, will be very happy with as many points as he can take for that team.
Yeah, he certainly will be. As I've just seen that Miss Liz has come back out onto the track in 10th position, but not too far ahead of Simoncic, who's on the option compound tyre and really on a recovery drive from that accident earlier on in the race at the Degners. He's currently in 11th position for Vodball, and we'll be hoping to pick up maybe 1 or 2 more positions by the end of this race. Already, he can only effectively pick up 1 more because of the gap between Melim and Misslis between 9th and 10th. It's quite a big one. I think really where we're going to see all the action now is between 2nd, 3rd and 4th, as Pushka is on very old prime tyres now, and he's still got another 9 laps to do on the 8 or 9 laps to do on these tyres that have already done about 13 laps, so it's going to be a long final stint for Pushka. Lopez is just down the road, 1.8 seconds behind him on much newer primes, and then behind Lopez as well is Canapino, who is another 1.5 seconds behind, but he is on the option compound tyres, and he has been doing some incredible lap times, really consistent in the low 29s, and just dipped into the 28s a couple of laps ago as well. Such has been the pace of Canapino at the end of this race here, so he is looking very, very strong right now. And he could potentially end up with a 2nd position by the end of this race. We'll see how close it could get between 2nd, 3rd and 4th. I think it will be one of the better battles as we go towards the checkered flag.
Yeah, indeed. No, I'd have to agree. Yeah, it's sort of really closing up, because essentially Franz closing on Pushka, and then Canapino is closing on Franz. So it's kind of like a chain reaction there in that little battle. Canapino's tyres are still going strong, so they're not quite falling off the cliff yet. But I'm just a little bit concerned for him that maybe he's going to push him for a bit too long, because he did pick quite early to put on those option tyres. I just suspect that maybe he might sort of feel the pain in the last couple of laps. We'll keep an eye on him. He may well have kept good care of those option tyres. He may be fine, but yeah, we'll keep an eye on that for you anyway. But he is very close to Fran Lopez at the moment, really starting to close in on the Red Archer driver, especially considering how far behind he was before. And Fran is slowly gaining on Pushka. It is quite slow. He's only making very limited progress at the moment, but he is slowly gaining, and it'll be interesting to see if that turns into a big Titanic battle for 2nd, because I'm sure Pushka right now he just wants to be left alone. He'll go, yep, I'll take a 2nd spot, I don't lose too much time to fight it, I'll take it. I'm sure he'd love to just have a nice easy finish and just get 2nd spot, but it looks like, you've got Fran closing in, and we know Fran, we know he will always fight 110% every single time for every battle he does, so when Fran's behind you, he is going to try everything he can to get past, so Fran definitely will try, and then Canapino as well, of course, is going to be really wanting a podium for him. I'm sure he'd love a podium in that Nordrone car. It's been a while since he's been on the podium, I believe, in that car, so he would definitely love another podium to add to his trophy cabinet. So definitely count Augustin out. Cooper also, by the way, isn't too far behind either, as well as Parker and Gaia, but probably too far behind to really make it too much of a difference in this battle. Look at this. Canapino pretty close now to the back of Fran Lopez. He really is hounding the back of that Red Archer car, and I think again that advantage of the softer tyre still playing into it at this point in the race. Let's see how much quicker that Nordrone is. Look at that, Nordrone so fast in a straight line, really closes up the back of Fran Lopez. He looks to the inside. Ooh, Fran just goes, no thank you, just goes, nope, you are not going down there, Augustin, I'm just going to close the door on you, sir. Just very, very authoritative nearly move there, as he just cut the, just went, nope, just cut the door, just went, nope, close the door. Didn't have any chance for Canapino to get past, and that really is very, very determined defence, I would suspect, is the best word to say there, Sam, from Fran.
Yeah, it certainly was. It was going to be a bit of a late move by Canapino really into turn 1 and turn 2. I think he just kind of suddenly realised he had a lot more grip than Lopez due to the difference in compounds between the two tyres. As now it looks like they're coming up to Menno Clont. They're going to have to lap him. Menno gets out of the way very well. so they don't really need to worry about him too much. But Lopez is definitely coming under fire for this podium position now, and that's actually allowing Pushka just to get away a little bit. So Canapino needs to really clear Lopez as quick as he can to have a chance at Pushka. And there he goes up the inside of 130 and perhaps a little bit of a contact between the two. But Canapino gets the job done forcefully, but it does get it done, moves himself into third position, and now he's got a real shot of getting second position here, and this would be a great strategy call by Canapino if he can pull this off in the remaining few laps of this race.
Indeed, yeah, that was a very nice move through 130R from Austin Canapino. Very brave move. I mean, any move through 130R, be it on the inside or outside, is always very brave because it's just so hard. It's challenging enough going through there on your own, let alone with two cars side by side. So good move from Canapino, just showing that extra grip that option tyre has. So good move from him. That puts Fran down to fourth. I think, yeah, I agree. There probably was a little bit of a touch between the two, but I mean, it's pretty hard to get through there when you're trying to pass someone without making a little bit of a scrape of the paint between the two cars, as I believe someone I thought it is actually Ben Horrell and Jason Muscat having a bit of a fight. This is over 12th spot between Adonis and Green Stripes. The side-by-sides that go through into Spoon. Still side-by-sides that go through Spoon. Ooh, a little bit of contact between the two there. They keep going on. There's still side-by-sides. They exit Spoon, but Muscat gets through on Horrell. I believe that's Muscat making the move. Look at this Horrell in the slipstream of the Adonis car. He's going to look to the outside of 130R. Very brave stuff, and he doesn't quite make it. They both managed to get through without contact. Good stuff from both of them. He has looked at the inside, but yeah, Muscat's got that covered into the chicane. So that's 12th for Muscat, 13th now for Horrell. Very close battle between those two at the back end of the points. It's good to see some good fighting there. Nice, clean, hard fighting at the back end of the field, or the lower end of the field as we get into the closing stages of this race. Only about 5 or 6 laps to go now. Fidek still leads. 2.7 now clear of Pushka. He's just dropped off a little bit in the last couple of laps. Possibly those tyres are really starting to hurt him now, as he has had them on for a long time. And Canapino, I tell you what, he's looking very good to really challenge for that second spot. I'm interested to see what happens here, because Pushka obviously has got the championship to worry about, whereas Canapino obviously not as in the championship, but he'll be wanting those points, Canapino, if he can try and get them to get that second spot. So I'll be interested to see just how hard Pushka will fight, because I suspect if he's thinking the championship game, he might not fight too hard, because he might think, I could fight, or I could just, play it safe, just finish up, get some solid points. I mean, even if it means, a third or a fourth spot to the second, I'd prefer to be safe and take that third or fourth rather than fighting and maybe having an accident and then losing all those points trying to fight for second spot. So I'll be keeping an eye on this interesting battle to see just what Pushka does. He's now got Canapino all over the back of him as they enter Spoon.
Yeah, certainly Canapino's really not messed around here at catching up with Pushka, and it's really showing that Pushka is starting to struggle a little bit. He's actually in about the low 29s in terms of lap times, but then Canapino is managing to do low 28, so that's a ridiculous kind of lap times by Canapino. He's absolutely flying right now. He's gone to the outside of Pushka towards the Casio Triangle, but not quite through. He couldn't quite get it, but he's going to get a good run coming out of the corner, down the hill towards the pit straight. Here we go. Canapino's surely going to look to the inside, and he does. And let's just watch the car fly by. Yeah, look at that straight line speed. Absolutely cracking speed by Canapino. Slides up the inside of Pushka into turn 1. Got the move done. Got second position. He's about 3.8 seconds behind Fidek now, so probably a bit too much to catch the leader. But it'll be an absolutely epic second position for Canapino. A great strategy call, very interesting one to see, and he's certainly been very forceful and very assertive when making his moves. Very good moves as well. Really good driving by him today. Certainly a great drive so far.
Yeah, indeed, yeah. I know. I almost wouldn't take him out as a shot for the win. I mean, it is about 3.5 or 4 seconds, but I mean, he's just got so much pace in that car that I wouldn't entirely count out that maybe he could challenge for the lead. So we'll keep an eye on that, but I think Fidek may have to just sort of push a bit here in the last couple of laps to make sure that he's got that first place secured. But I'm going to be interested to see what Fran does now, as I think Fran, although he just goes wide as Spoon there, that costs him about half a second or so. But Fran Lopez now is probably looking like he may actually challenge Pushka for that podium spot. And again, I mean, you notice there with that move on Canapino, I mean, it is obvious how much faster Canapino was, but Pushka didn't really fight it too hard. I mean, obviously down the straight, he probably would have known that Norjo was just going to absolutely fly past, but he didn't really fight it too hard. So again, I think Pushka, thinking championship here, is thinking I could fight, like an absolute dog for that, actually demon for that position. But I think he's thinking, I think championship. He's thinking, I'll lose a spot, but then at least I've got this spot. At least I'm still in the championship hunt. It's better me taking these points, staying in the championship hunt rather than trying to fight really hard for a position, and getting in a crash and losing all those points. So smart driving, I think, from Pushkar. He's thinking long term, thinking end of the season, thinking last race here rather than thinking right now, which is good stuff from him. But he will have Fran Lopez, I think, over the back of him anytime soon, and we just need to see what he does with him. Whether he'll defend that podium or whether he'll just sort of whether he'll not fight it as hard as he possibly could, thinking championship wise. But a little bit of a run through the orders. We're now into the last sort of 2 or 3 laps now. Still David Feideck leading from Augustin Canapino. 3.8 seconds is now the gap, so it has closed but not by too much. So keep an eye on that for you. Pushkar in third still from Fran Lopez, and that's Alex Cooper. He's got fifth still in the first of the CSGs. Tom Parker in the second of the CSGs is sixth, followed by Florian Guy in seventh. As Van der Voort still in 8th in the first of the Midnights. There's Pedro Mellum in the second Midnight is 9th. And 10th running top 10 now in the top 10 after he's come back, managing to get past Missiles in the last few laps is Jonik Semicic. He's back in the top 10 after the crash earlier in the race. So good recovery drive from Semicic. Credit to him. He's just been working away in the background, slowly but surely nipping away, gaining positions here and there, and he's back in the top 10. So good recovery drive from Jonik. It's Missiles 11th, Muscat 12th, Horrell 13th, Clont 14th, and then Kenny Libia still rounds out your last point spot there in the Nijo. It's Ryan, Wicks, Wernerson, and Mason rounds out the last of your guys still running after a pretty high attrition rate in this race. Not quite as high as I was expecting, to be honest. I was expecting it to be slightly higher by this stage of the race. But yeah, good to see some good battles so far. But yeah, the Clean Light Fighter should hopefully be able to hold this on. For his sake, he should be able to hold on for the win. It's 3.4 seconds now, so Canapino still closing. I don't think he has enough time. He's only got a couple laps now to close in that gap to the Hawkeye driver, and I just don't know if he's got enough time to really challenge for the lead.
Yeah, he certainly pulled out a few laps there, did Feideck, over the last couple of laps. Just dropped into the 128s, and I think that was just to ensure that he could cement his position and just keep a decent gap between himself and Canapino. So he clearly saw Canapino coming on the timesheets right behind him. Canapino's actually pulled out by 1.5 seconds over Pushkar as well, who's falling into the grasps of Lopez a little bit. Lopez is now half a second behind Pushkar, and certainly looking like he could make a move into this final lap as Feideck crosses the line to start the final lap right now. So he's only got 1 lap left to do. But Lopez versus Pushkar, that's certainly going to be where the final battle comes from, as Pushkar's actually having to defend a little bit going into turn 1, and Lopez tries to look up his inside, but Pushkar just plants it on the inside of the corner perfectly well. So Lopez really didn't have anywhere to go. That was perfect positioning of the car by Pushkar, and he's really just got this last lap to try and defend. It's going to be really into the triangle after 130 yard that I think Pushkar's just got to be wary. It's actually, Lopez has gone wide. He's just gone wide there, gone on the grass, and I think that's effectively it for Lopez now. He's probably too far behind to have another go at Pushkar for the rest of this lap.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, no, I agree. I think he just sort of threw away the chance there. Just went a bit wide out of the long sweeping left-hander, and that's just cost him. It wasn't much. It was only costing him about sort of half a second to a second. But in this last lap, that's enough to, I think, possibly gift Pushkar that third spot. So good drive in the end from Pushkar here. Looking a bit down and out earlier in the race, but he's managed to play the strategy game, and there he is in third spot. Good recovery drive from our championship leader, and really showing why he's been so dominant in leading this championship pretty much all season long, or most of the season. So good stuff from him. But David Feideck coming into the chicane for the final time. It's been a very, very nice drive from Mr. Consistency. I'm sure he'll be very happy with this drive for Hawkeye. Fantastic drive from David Feideck. He's going to win the 2015 Japanese Grand Prix here in Super League. Great win from David Feideck. Really well done. Augustin Canapino, he's going to take second spot for Norjo. Another great drive from him too. That last sort of charge at the back end of the race. Good stuff from him. Philip Pushkar, as I said, really nice drive, recovery drive from him. He gets third for Boyd Ball. That's Fran Lopez. Is fourth in the Red Archer car. Still a great drive from him. Gaining spots from his qualifying position, and that is good points for him and the team, which I'm sure they will take. Alex Cooper ends up fifth in the CSG. A bit of a disappointment. Probably a little bit disappointed with that, considering that he was in the fight for the lead in the first half of the race. He just kind of fell off as the race progressed. So a bit of a shame for Alex after he could have been earlier on the race, but still a good drive. 5th spot, some good points for CSG, so good stuff from them. Tom Parker, 6th spot in the 2nd CSG. Then it was Florian Geyer in the 2nd, Noor Jones 7th. Tom Vanderbilt 8th in the 1st of the Midnights, followed by his teammate Pedro Mellum in 9th. And Yannick Stemminger yet to cross the line, but he should, assuming he can get around the last few corners, get 10th. So good recovery from him as well to get back in the points and in the top 10 after crashing through the Degners earlier in the race. So good recovery from him as he comes through the final corner now. And yep, he should. Gets a bit of a oversteer moment there, but he should have 10th spot in the bag. And in 11th spot, and the last one to cross the line will be David Smislis, as he's the last one on the lead lap in the 2nd of the Red Archers. A solid drive from him as he enters pit lane on the final laps. Interesting stuff there. But good drive from him to get the 11th spot. Good points for him. Ben Horrell, 12th in the sole surviving Green Stripes car. Good drive from Ben to get the 12th spot. Some solid points for Green Stripes in their fight at the back end of the team's title. Jason Muscat, 13th in the Adonis Engineering car, in the sole surviving Adonis car. Good drive from him as well. Menno Klont, 14th in the 2nd Hawkeye. Good recovery from him after starting back into the teens. And rounding at points getters is Kenny Libier in the Nijo, getting the point for them as they continue to fight at the back end of the team's title. The rest of the finishers, Kieran Ryan for Phoenix in 16th, Mark Wicks for Kerno in 17th, Morton Wernerson 18th for Woods, and then rounding out your finishers, Rob Mason in 19th for the Nijos. Not a good drive from him, nice and consistent considering that he was a last minute jump-in driver for this round. And Matthew Allington, Roy Schroten, Mikko Yakinen, Marcus Riffle, Jordan Weeks, DeWalt Nell round out your retirements for this race. So there you go. There does that race, and I'll tell you what, that was a really, really fun race, Sam. I really enjoyed that. Some great battling, you had the drama of the crashes and incidents and spins and the battles. It really did have everything, and the strategy as well. It really did have pretty much everything that you'd want from a Super League race.
Yeah, certainly. I couldn't believe the amount of overtaking we had here today, and certainly incidents as well. And we had quite a few retirements to begin with, but then I think everything kind of calmed down, and not too many after that. It really was strategy that came into play in the second half of the race, and it was really interesting to see, especially for the likes of Canapino and Pushka, who were able to run alternative strategies and just be able to pick up a couple of positions, or quite a few positions at the end, to be fair. So good strategies by both, but Fidek, an important victory for him, and it will be good for his championship challenge as he effectively slashes another 9 points off the lead that Pushka has over Fidek right now. So it's just over, a race win between the two in terms of the driver's title. So it's only getting tighter, and we're running out of races as well. So it's really starting to hot up now, and it's going to be great to see what happens in the coming races.
Yeah, indeed. It's going to be a very, very fascinating finish to this 2015 Super League season. But we shall now, of course, do the post-race interviews. So I'll just grab our interviews in a moment. We have Pushka, Gaia, and Fidek joining us in the booth for the interviews. And I guess, well, where else do we start? We start with the man of this race, David Fidek, a winner here at Japan. Great race, David. It was a very fantastic race. Very well done with the strategy, and just a very consistent race from you, keeping up that nickname of yours of Mr. Consistency. But how was your race from your perspective?
Oh man, yeah, one of those. When you're chasing the pack and it's a hot race and you sweat, you're like, yeah, I suppose this is normal. But when you're leading and it's hot, oh my god, man, that was hard work. Yeah, my start was amazing. I wasn't sure if Philip jumped the start or not, because he went and then stopped. Got past Alex and stayed in front for the first few laps, and sorry, he was in front of keeping pace with me with all of his extra downforce. So I thought it might be worth me easing off into turn one, letting him go, and keeping with him in his slipstream, and then go for it at the pit stops, which worked out really well. Pitted a lap earlier at the start, and jumped Alex and managed to pull out a gap during the second stint. And then it was just about watching the two stoppers, Philip and who was it, Canapino. I managed to get Canapino during the middle stint. Couldn't catch Philip whilst he was on old options, but when he pitted for his primes, I put my foot down and managed to get the gap and come out just in front of him, even though there was a back marker who wanted to race us through the hairpin and degging us for some reason. I'll have to have a chat with someone about that, but yeah, I managed to defend from Philip while he had the warmer tyres and pull out a gap, and made sure I had enough to cover Canapino, who was flying on options at the end. So great race, much needed. I can't believe it's only my second of the season. It's annoying me, to be honest. Yeah, I'm usually a lot better than that, but considering we've had no updates for a couple of races, or very little updates, none this race, and not many coming up, to be honest, I'm surprised we managed to get, or do so well rather, in this race. So yeah, roll on the rest of the season.
Yeah, great effort, David, and it was a absolutely stellar drive. As you said, it's only your second win of the season and really your first since Bahrain, which was in round 2. So do you think now, with this win, do you think you can really use that momentum and really challenge for the title in the final remaining 3 races?
Yeah, well, I never lose confidence. I never think about the momentum and all that stuff. I give as hard as I can every race, and if it wasn't for the lack of testing for Silverstone and Austria, where it rained and all those points disappeared, I could be a lot closer. But like I said, with the R&D points, with the last 3 races, it's going to be extremely difficult. I don't know how oddballs stand, but it's good that I'm winning. But as long as Philip is on the podium, then he's champion. So I guess he can take less risks than me. I have to just go for it, and hopefully someone that loves me very much can get in the mix with Philip a bit.
Yeah, indeed. No, it was, as we said, very, very fantastic race and just a well-played strategy game. But I guess we'll finish off for you on the next round, of course, is the Asa Marina circuit in Abu Dhabi. A very, very power-heavy track, of course. You've got the 2 very, very long straights, so you're going to favour the Nord Jones and CSG there. So how do you feel about your chances there, being that Hawkeye is a bit low on upgrades and not the quickest car in a straight line?
Yeah, well, I thought that for Monza, and we managed to qualify 2 tenths off pole. And we've had rubbish drag, and it's not just the drag and the engine, it's the weight of the car as well. We haven't upgraded weight since round 6, so that gives us more tyre wear. But yeah, I love Abu Dhabi. I won there last year with a great race with Alex, and then the year before with in Formula Challenge with Gagzella. We had a great battle there as well for the championship. So yeah, I go really well. It's a heavy braking track, which I like, and it suits my style as well. So yeah, we're going all out as usual, and hopefully close a few more points to Philip to make it look like I've actually tried.
Yeah, no, it was interesting to see you next round. Hopefully, another good result is on the cards. But thank you very much, David. Well done.
Cheers, guys.
Very, very deserving win.
Thank you.
And yeah, I'll see you next round. All right, and next up, I guess we'll go with Philip Pushka, the man managing to recover from what was looking like a bit of a downer round to being third. A really nice drive, Philip. I was very impressed with you just playing the strategy game and really gaining back in that second half of the race. But how's the race from your perspective?
Yeah, obviously couldn't have gone worse. The start completely, I don't know what happened. I just fell asleep for 1 second, I don't know. And I missed completely, got passed by 5, 6, 7 cars, and then, crashed after I tried to move and flow in, and it was my own fault basically to, had too much. It wasn't always wasn't about to work out there, because in Degner you can't overtake on the outside. I tried and I failed. Hit the wall quite hard actually, but the damage was only on one side. So the problem was in right-handers. I had massive understeer that affected my lap times, I think. So, but I wasn't sure how many seconds it would take to actually repair the damage in the pits, and then if I could gain back the time, through through one lap. So I didn't repair it, and balance was in right-handers was basically destroyed. So the rest of the race was trying to catch up any places I was really surprised most of the front runners, despite Canapino, went for a 3-stop because I think 2-stop was a bit faster, at least for me. So yeah, I managed to get third. I think Fran would have had a go at me in the last lap, but he made a mistake in the dirty air, so I was really, really lucky there. Yeah, raced my my balls off in the last laps because I was on the all attack qualifying laps, last 10 laps to manage to hold off Fran. I knew once Canapino was behind me, I just let him through because he was over half a second quicker with newer options. My old worn hard tires couldn't manage that, and plus my damage. So I was very lucky to get third in the end. Don't know what happened to Alex Cooper. I think he was in the mix as well and somehow dropped off a bit. So yeah, after some really errors by me, made of judgment and just bad driving actually in the first laps, really unusual for me actually, but I have to look into that and make it better for the last races. And I think the pace was there. It was just my bad driving in the first laps that destroyed the possible win, I think.
Yeah, great result there for you, Philip. Really, from after your first lap, really, and so it was a very good recovery drive and a really interesting strategy to see. What are your thoughts now, really going ahead? Is it more of just kind of get as many points as you can, or are you still going to be going for race wins, considering that you've really got to try and defend your championship lead now?
I have 2 races now with bad luck, basically, and combined with bad driving, so I want to get back on top. I want to win the next race, and that's basically the plan. If it works out this time, I don't know. This season, the pace has basically always been there. I never was off the pace, let's say, to not compete for the win. It was majorly because of bad starts. Actually, my start technique is now better, but this time I just, fell asleep and didn't start basically. So if I can manage to get a good start next one, I think we should have a go at the win again.
Yeah, indeed, no, yeah, it's I'm thinking I do think you'll be up there in the next round for sure. Well, ball come up very strong, and you've been strong all season long. So, but again, very good recovery drive, and well done to get third from what was looking like a bit of a down race. So, well done to you, Philip.
Yeah, thanks.
No worries at all. All right, and we'll finish up. Our last man who popped in for interviews is good old Florian Geyer. Florian was looking like a podium at one point after sort of the last 10-15 laps. We were thinking a podium could have been on the cards, but just dropped off a bit in that last stint. But still 7th spot for you. Some solid points for you and the Nord Jones team. But how's the race from your view?
Hello. Where to start? The start was pretty okay, I think. Actually, this time, I was right in the mix with Augustin in turn one. It was pretty close, but I think there was P5 after the first lap. I had Vandervoort behind me, but he soon caught up to me, and together with Tom. But I made a few mistakes in the opening lap, so they could get past me. But I don't know what it's like for him, but he's leaving the door open the last chicane, and I go for it, and then all of a sudden he turns in, and then he's weaving all over the straight and straight down the start finish line. I'm going to trying to go past him, and he turns into me and bumps into me and leaves me no space, and I nearly go into the wall. I don't know what's up with that. Yeah. Apart from that, the pace was actually really good. I mean, Will is doing all he can to provide us, me and Augustin, with the best car. I think we made a pretty good step here at Suzuka this time. The CSG is still a little bit too quick for us, but I think I could keep up quite well with Alex, and even jumped him in the last pit stop, which surprised me a little bit. But in the end, Augustin just came out, or I came out just behind him. So, a few little mistakes in the last stint of primes because they were pretty bad for me. Just P7, so not the best result to be honest. But still some good points for the team.
Yeah, good race, guys. Very eventful, and it was very unlucky that you didn't manage to get maybe something a little bit higher. But for yourself and the team now, where are really your aims for the rest of the season? Is there any motivation to try and go higher, or is it really just to cement your positions in the championship?
Yeah. Yeah. To be honest, it's quite hard to catch both CSG and Watford. I mean, they got both great drivers. But we're pretty good too, so we try all we can to close that gap and maybe somehow get that P1. It's quite a gap in the constructors title, but still, I think we can do it. The car is good and should suit the rest of the season. The tracks, Austin and Abu Dhabi, Brazil. I think we go for it as usual, but gotta see how it plays out with the others.
Yeah, indeed. No, yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how you guys go in this, last few rest of the season. If you can finish up strong, I do expect that the car should be pretty strong. Yes, Marina being a power track and being the North Jones so fast in a straight line, I'm expecting it to be quite good there. But yes, thank you for popping in again, Florian, for the interview, and well done on your 7 spots and good solid points for your championship.
Thank you.
Alright, so that pretty much brings us to the end of the broadcast. I guess I'll obviously get our final thoughts, and I might as well, seeing as here, and of course he jumped in at last minute and was pretty much the hero that kept the broadcast going, is Mr. Joshua Anderson. What were your thoughts on the race, my friend?
I thought it was a crack on myself. I absolutely loved doing cameras for that. Some fantastic racing, some great action. Interesting to see the strategy side of it as well, because you don't usually see that in the lower tiers of the career ladder, because I usually do cameras for Super Cup. And there is a bit of strategy involved there, but Super League is a completely different experience. It was an absolute pleasure to do cameras for it, and hopefully I'll get the opportunity again sometime in the future.
Indeed, yeah, no, it'd be good to have you along, and I'm sure that you'll get chances in the future to do this once again. But thank you again, as always, for coming in and doing the broadcast for us. And yeah, hopefully we'll see you again soon. And I guess, of course, finishing off now, we'll get Sam, your final thoughts before we finish off. Your thoughts on this race, and even for the next 2 or 3 races to come. How do you think the season will finish off?
Yeah, I was definitely pleasantly surprised by the racing today. It was certainly one of the more interesting races that we've had this season in Super League, in terms of not only the action but also the whole strategy and the intrigue throughout the race. So it made for a fantastic race, and certainly really spiced up the championship as well. Kept it nice and close to the remaining 3 rounds of the season, and considering we've still got to go to Abu Dhabi, America and Brazil, all traditionally end of season tracks, and certainly ones where you tend to get quite a bit of overtaking and a lot of action, and of course variable weather in Brazil at the end of the season as well. I think we're going to be in for a very interesting end to the championship this year, and perhaps one of the more exciting championship ends we've seen in Super League. I'm still in my usual Super Cup commentary mode in
Fair
Super
enough, yeah.
League over the past few years. So I think it's certainly one to stick around for, and I myself cannot wait for the final 3 rounds of this season. It's going to be an absolute thrill of a ride to watch.
Indeed, no, I'll second that one all the way. For sure, it'll be a mighty, mighty close finish, I suspect, for this championship. Who will be? Who'll come out on top at the end of the season? Well, we'll have to find that out after the final round of the championship in Brazil. And yeah, it's been a very, very fascinating round, this one here at Japan. A lot of, as we said, you had the spins, the incidents, you had the battling, and the strategy coming involved. It was all there. It's around the championship. Very fascinating one to watch. And yeah, going to be interesting to see how it all goes now as we move on to Yas Marina in 2 weeks' time. Very big power track, of course, so the cars with the lower top speeds may struggle at this track, but we will see how we go. But that is pretty much it for us here from Japan for Super League here for this round of the season. Fascinating round. Hope you all enjoyed watching it as much as I enjoyed commentating this one. And yeah, I guess we'll see you in 2 weeks' time for Yes Marina. Until then, take care and goodbye.